What is up? Ask DLF is here. We're live. We're ready to take some questions. There's going to be so many. We already have a bunch from Twitter, from Reddit, from YouTube comments, from the forum. We got so many questions. We're here to answer them. Last week, we went 4 hours. How long is it going to be tonight? No one knows, but hey, settle in, relax. Let's take a trip here and let's talk about Dynasty football. It's middle of June. We love fantasy football. We love Dynasty football. And there is no off season here at DLF. And we are brought to you by DynastyLeagueFootball.com. There's an amazing promo right now through Monkey Knife Fight that you need to know about. $10. They'll match it on Monkey Knife Fight. You get a premium subscription to Dynasty League Football. You need to check into that. We're about 2 minutes away from unveiling our brand new intro video, which I'm stoked about. You guys have got to check it out.
You have no idea how good.
Yeah, I got to introduce Tyler. Obviously, Tyler's here at DLF_Carp, who is coming to us. And you might notice a little difference in the background right there. It looks different, Tyler.
Yes, I moved today. I'm very tired. I had to move. I had movers, but had to move things, a lot of things. They're very interesting. But if you see a little bit more rage, a little bit more anger than usual, not that there's any shortage of that, but try to make it a fun show, get that stress of moving out. My new place is pretty nice, though. Better lit than my old place, for sure.
Well, very good. Well, glad you got everything moved. Glad you're set up. We got a, well-lit background there. And, hey, welcome into the live stream. This reminds me, if you are watching this, you're in the comments, we're going to be taking questions, like I said, from all those different places. We've already got a bunch of them in. If you're in the comments, though, as you know, this is a great place to be on a Tuesday night. Get those comments in there. Get those questions in there. We're going to answer most, if not all of them. But also, we are going, the comment section itself seems to take care of a bunch of questions, which is always fantastic. Without further ado, though, before we do any of that, we have a brand new intro video. It was made by the one and only at Aardvark. Let me get it right. It's at Aardvark TV, right? Hang on. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Yeah, at Aardvark TV. He's Feverish Finero. And
I've known him for a long time.
I'm going to put him up. I'm going to put it. Yeah, there we go. At Aardvark TV. He made this intro video. It's amazing. Go follow him. Make sure you do. You got one last thing to say?
No, that was it. I've known him for a long time. So I suggest going and following him.
Here we go. The brand new intro video for our Ask DLF show every Tuesday nights right here, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Here it is. I love it. I can't even tell you how
I love it. It could have been. This is why we get a professional to do it. We don't let me do it. Right. If it had been me, the whole thing would have just been a close-up of my hair. That's what it would have been. It would have been a 2-minute video just focusing on every little detail of my beautiful hair. So I'm glad we got a professional to do that instead of me.
Joe chimes in. Thanks for tuning in again here, Joe.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Yeah, lots of cool. Here we go. Yeah, incredible, big time. Hey, make sure that you reach out to at Aardvark Feverish Finero. Let them know. Lots of really cool feedback right here. Appreciate that. I will also let him know.
Put up here. I'll do it. I'll do it. Oh, oopsie! I hit We were trying to both. No, come back here. There we go.
That's the man right there at
That's the
Aardvark
man.
TV. That's him.
I want to also put up this comment. I agree. It lacked any failure. It needed more failure. There was not enough of that. And yes, I agree with Will.
Yeah. So
glad could be nice.
Glad you guys are in. We've got a lot of questions that have already come in. So again, if you are here, you're in the comments. Make sure that you are getting those questions into the live chat portion.
Thank you, Addison.
Yeah, Addison.
Your contractually obligated 10-minute video is on its way.
And we start with maybe the most fun question that we've ever gotten in the history of this show.
We're really gonna start with that question.
We're starting there. It's from Reverse Giraffe. Who would win in a fight? 1 Derrick Henry sized Tutu Atwell or 100 Tutu Atwell sized Derrick Henrys?
I don't care. This is a dumb question. I'll take the 100.
I'll take the
100 of anything over the 1 of anything.
This is not a dumb question. This is the best question we've ever received.
I'm no fun. You know that. You know I don't like questions like this unless they're about me.
I think it's the best question we've ever had. I thank you for that. And I think it is like you have inspired so much of the Tutu Atwell like entertainment value on this show. Like shout out to Tutu Atwell. But yeah, this is a great question. So anytime you have a silly question that you want to ask, I literally created a silly question place to put our questions when it comes in just because this one came in.
If you do if it's a really good question, really good, I might even give a real answer.
How about 100 ants versus
I'm not afraid of bugs, so bring them on.
All right. Well, we do have some questions coming in to the live chat here, but we are going to continue with a little bit of our questions that try to get through some of these that we already had that came in. I am going to put this scroll bar down here at the bottom. So this is going to tell you how you can get your questions in, whether you're watching this live or on the replay. So make sure you're paying attention to that. Take time to subscribe. Make sure you look down there. Make sure you're subscribing to our channel and all that. And we start with some Courtland Sutton. And where would he be in your dynasty rankings if Aaron Rodgers was traded to the Broncos, which I know we've talked a lot about.
We've talked a lot, yeah.
But let's just say he was traded there. And just general feelings about what you think about Courtland Sutton right now based on news we're hearing out of camp.
I don't like it. I mean, I don't like Courtland Sutton right now. All we hear about how Jerry Jeudy is excelling at every practice. You know, Courtland Sutton, nowhere to be found. He's still injured. You know, it looks like Teddy Bridgewater is excelling in practices, and Drew Lock, and not so much. So, you know, if we have Teddy Bridgewater, we know that he can't throw downfield, but we know he's accurate. Who does that go well with? We'd rather have Jerry Jeudy or Courtland Sutton in that case, probably Jerry Jeudy. But we get Aaron Rodgers. I think that'll fix any of Courtland Sutton's problems. He's had a lot of failure. You know, at a quarterback, we've had a lot of failure. We've had Drew Lock, you know, a lot of failure with Drew Lock. And then before that, what was there? There was Joe Flacco, right? There was Joe Flacco. And there was Case Keenum before that in 2018, right? Case Keenum, something like that. What I don't even remember. It was a lot of failure. We don't want these guys. So he would have a real quarterback for the first time in his career. And yeah, I think he would move up. Right now, he's Dynasty wide receiver 26, behind Mike Evans and ahead of Jalen Waddle. So looking at where I'd move him, I'd probably move him ahead of Evans, ahead of Galladay, ahead of Devonta Smith, and that's probably where he'd stop. And next would be Deontay Johnson, and I'd still rather have Deontay Johnson.
It's so hard for someone like this to move up very high in the wide receiver rankings because there's just so many guys that I think that we like there at the wide receiver position this year. It just would be hard to make that kind of a big move. But AJ, he's very thankful for you doing this after a stressful day, and I think we all are. Yeah, moving stinks. That is no doubt about that.
It's true. Stressful day. But I was, you know, still helping the people out, including AJ.
Dylan says, "Yo, DLF, what's Tannehill
What's up?
worth in terms of 22 and 23 picks in a 12-team super flex league? What do you think?"
I mean, if you're not offering me 2022 firsts, I just close the conversation right there, right? I mean, that's it. That's what I want. I think that's fair. If I'm a rebuilder, I'll take it. He's not so young, but yeah, I need 2022 firsts at this point.
He's going off as the QB 13 right now in Dynasty, according to the ADP. That sounds about right? I mean,
That's exactly where I have him. QB 13. Yeah. Exactly agree. So yes, I completely agree.
It will be interesting to see, like, depending on how the news goes, Aaron Rodgers is currently right in front of him as the QB 12.
Well, that's dumb. I don't understand. Yeah. Why would you rather have Aaron Rodgers maybe coming to play 4.5 years older over Ryan Tannehill, who's going to put up similar production this year and who they just restructured his contract to backload his guaranteed money? Why would you rather have Aaron Rodgers over Ryan Tannehill? What am I not understanding? It makes no sense. So yeah, that's wrong. That's bad. That's mispriced.
How do you feel about Tannehill in Scott Fishbowl?
I haven't thought about it that much, but okay. Right. Like, given that I rank him just in regular redraft scoring as like the quarterback 7.
I feel like I like him. Yeah.
I like it then, right?
Yeah.
He was good for me last year when I made it to the semifinals. Let's not forget that I made it to the semifinals last year. He was good last year.
Kane says, let's not do 4 hours again. Took forever to get through that monster.
I gotta be honest, Kane, we're probably gonna do 4 hours again at some point.
We're here for you guys. So look, as long as you have questions, that's what we're here for. Good community. Love the chat room. You guys are on fire already. Certainly appreciate that. And yeah, lots of comments in here about the video. Let's see. Oh, I don't know. We got some, killer intro. There we go. 2 minutes of the hair would be nice. There we go. Panero says he wishes he could have added some more Tyler hair flips. We certainly could have used that.
I'll do a whole video for you.
There you go. Here we go. DJ Moore. Let's talk about DJ Moore. Is he more of a risk or a lock? Now, there's some interesting comments coming out. Robbie Anderson was talking very highly about Sam Darnold here recently. What do you think? I mean, Sam Darnold is certainly somebody that your catchphrase could be talked about for the last couple of years.
I mean, yeah, 3 years of failure. Right? He didn't do anything. He didn't do anything really on the Jets. No real signs of success at all. So yeah, a lot of failure. I don't really like that.
Do we think that now that he's in this new system, he's got Joe Brady with him and, DJ Moore's attached to him. How do you feel about that?
I'm okay with it. I'm fine with DJ Moore at his price, which is what? What is his price? It's actually, I actually like his price a lot better in this month's ADP.
Yeah. So speaking about DJ Moore here, let's see. He's going as the wide receiver 16.
Too low.
Okay, so Chris Godwin or DJ Moore?
Moore.
Terry McLaurin or DJ Moore?
Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, me too. Allen Robinson?
DJ Moore.
Keenan Allen?
DJ Moore easily.
Interesting.
DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay. The number one wide receiver right now is Devontae Adams. How do we feel about that?
What? That's a choice. That's stupid.
Figured you'd like that.
Why? Explain why. Why is he shouldn't have been the Dynasty wide receiver 1 before? He's too old. Already 28, too old for a wide receiver, for the wide receiver 1 for me. Rodgers is not there. He's not there. You want 28-year-old Devontae Adams with Jordan Love as your Dynasty wide receiver 1? No, he wouldn't even be in Dynasty wide receiver 10 at his age. I mean, really, what is DeAndre Hopkins? What is DeAndre Hopkins in Dynasty value right now?
Like as far so ADP wise, you mean he's going wide receiver 10?
Right. So, and they're 5 months apart in age.
Yeah.
So who would you rather in Dynasty? DeAndre Hopkins with Kyler Murray or Devontae Adams with Jordan Love?
maybe Jordan Love, right? Like maybe it's who's the other guy there? Is it
Blake failure?
Blake Bortles? Yeah.
Yeah. No. We don't want failure. We don't want Blake Bortles. So why would you want Devontae Adams then? He's 5 months younger with a much worse quarterback. And I mean, who's a better player? Devontae Adams or DeAndre Hopkins? I say this all the time.
Yeah.
And I find it hard to believe that people don't see it this way. But like one of those two players, I think, is on course to go to the Hall of Fame. The other is belonging in the Hall of Very Good.
Yeah. They're both very good, obviously. But yeah, certainly don't trust that situation there in Green Bay right now. But, you know, and staying with a little bit, so we were talking about, this started with talking about DJ Moore. What are you trying to do with Sam Darnold, a 16-team Superflex? You don't sound sold on him. You trying to move him?
16-team Superflex, you keep every quarterback you can get. So I just keep him and take my chances.
Very good.
What else can you do?
Which NFL players would Tyler's hair look best on? If you're in the comments, go ahead and give us some names. Who would look best in Tyler's hair? Peyton Manning?
No.
Maybe we get some Photoshop of Peyton Manning?
No.
With your hair? No?
No, I don't think so.
Addison says almost 3,000 subs on YouTube. Thank you guys very much. We really appreciate it.
Because of Addison, though.
Yeah, really appreciate you guys subbing. And if you're watching this, like, make sure you're checking out Addison's videos. First of all, he works really hard to bring daily videos, does a great job with them. And yeah, just look down below and make sure if you're watching this on YouTube that it says that you're subscribed. And if you're not watching this on YouTube, you're watching it on Periscope. Twitter. Switch over to YouTube and just check it out and hit that subscribe button. That would
the YouTube chat is way better.
Yes, no doubt. Yeah, Brian Hoyer with Tyler's hair.
Oh my God, no.
Kane asks, comments on 49ers press news. Trey Lance ready to compete and Trey Sermon ahead of the curve. I got to be honest, Tyler. I'm starting to really buy into Trey Sermon. Am I crazy?
No. I mean, who's he competing with?
Right.
Raheem always injured.
Mm-hmm.
Elijah Mitchell, 6th round pick. Like Wayne Gallman, journeyman. He better be ahead of the curve. He's not ahead of the curve against that competition. I don't know what to tell you.
Totally agree. And Trey Lance, if he's ready, like, does that change anything for the 49ers weapons? Is it an upgrade? Is it a downgrade? About the same? What do you think?
I don't know. It's an upgrade. See, it's not, though. That's the thing. Like, it's not really an upgrade because Trey Lance, it's going to be an upgrade for the quarterback, but Trey Lance is going to produce with his legs, and that's going to take the passing volume away, whereas Jimmy G doesn't run at all. So the pass volume could actually go down, and I'm not sure that this is a massive upgrade for the 49ers receiving weapons, but I think Trey Lance has top 5 upside. And I don't buy it. I don't buy that unless if Jimmy G's on the 49ers, he's going to start week 1. Because he's owed $25 million or so that's not guaranteed. If he's not going to start week 1, they're just going to cut him. Like, if they're talking about a competition, that's the competition. We're going to know by week 1. If Jimmy G is on the roster, his entire $25 million becomes guaranteed when week 1 begins. And then they're planning to play him for a long time, 6, 7, 8 games minimum. But I think what they mean by this is Trey Lance is competing. If Trey Lance wins, Jimmy G will be cut. We're not going to go into week 1 with a decision. Like, I don't think this is like the Bears. If Jimmy G comes on the team week 1, I don't think he's going to be pulled so quickly. But, you know, there's always the chance they could cut him and save the money.
Yeah, I agree. So we are going to hop back over to we got a bunch of comments in there. Really appreciate you guys getting those comments in. We are going to jump back and forth a little bit today, trying to get questions answered, both from Twitter and from all the different places that they came in. So if you're here, bear with us, put your comments in there, and we will do everything we can to get to them as soon as we possibly can. I'm going to lock it up. Ask, in a Dynasty Superflex startup, how does league size and roster size affect who you might take in the first 5 or 6 picks? This is a good strategy question, Tyler. What do you think?
I mean, like, Roster size, not that much. League size matters a lot. The more teams, the more you want to take quarterbacks. The less teams, the less. Because the quarterback scarcity is what matters.
Yeah, I would say even like in a non-super flex league, like I might I just started or I was just in a 20-team league, and I bumped quarterbacks way up in that, even in a 1 QB league, because the scarcity of like that upper echelon makes a big difference when somebody's starting the 20th best quarterback. And
yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult when there's only when there's not going to be any quarterbacks on waivers and most teams only have one. It's kind of a dangerous situation.
Yep, 100%. Wyatt, he's comes to us here on Twitter. Has the hate for Odell Beckham Jr. gone too far? I've seen him being drafted as the wide receiver 35. We're unlikely to see the OBJ of old again, but he's still extremely talented.
I'm good. I'll pass. Why? He's already 28. He'll turn 29 during the season. The dynasty value upside's not there. He's in a run first offense. Why? I'll invest elsewhere. I'm good. I'll pass on OBJ.
Yeah, and his ADP is right on that wide receiver 35 in this most recent update here in Superflex leagues.
I'm fine with it, by the way.
And yeah, I guess the thing is at his age, I don't know how much higher he's going to go. And
he's not.
Yeah, I mean, Adam Thielen's coming off of a pretty good season, but his age puts him down. Like he's at 33. So I mean, I just don't know how high Odell Beckham can go.
Not there, yeah.
Value wise, now value is not the same thing as production. He can still produce a good season fantasy wise this year. At least
how good is it going to be though?
Good one. Gosh, there's so few weapons there.
Not really. You think there are so few weapons? I'm not sure I see it that way.
You get past Landry, and I mean, like, I don't think much of Hooper. I guess you get Kareem Hunt, and then
Kareem Hunt is significant.
Okay, all right.
I'm just not that interested.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm fond of the former LSU Tiger Odell Beckham, and but again, his value, he's not somebody to go trade for in your dynasty leagues because you're going to lose value.
Yeah, probably not.
Meeks L, draft best available and trade for need. Do you fundamentally agree with this approach? Again, something else we've talked about here a bunch on this show, but talk about this and why this is what you believe.
Well, yeah, you can always trade later. You don't want to lose dynasty value just to fill a roster spot or two. So yeah, I always draft for value, trade for need, and I like it. You just build better teams that way. You don't, you could reach to fill a need, but then you've kind of lost value. And dynasty is a long-term game. You never know when you're going to find players at, positions you didn't imagine in the 20th, 30th round. Who knows what you'll find? So wouldn't worry too much about a lineup hole. You can fill it later.
Yeah,
so, I agree.
You don't have to set a lineup for another few months now. There's no reason to be drafting for anything other than the best value, because taking Keyshawn Vaughn in the first round over Justin Jefferson last year would not look very good right now, just because you needed a running back.
Wouldn't. That would be very bad.
That would be really dumb.
Put up the super chat.
Oh, here we go. All right. There we go. All right. Numbers chimes in. Appreciate you coming back here, Numbers. That's very excited to see you back in here. And as Numbers has done here, the super chat, that is certainly the way that you're going to get your question read the fastest. You're not obligated to do so, but if you want to do that, we will get that.
I'll like you more if you do it.
Yeah, we'll get up here as soon as we can. I'll still like all you guys the same, but we'll read your question faster. He says he's back. And we talked about Trey Lance earlier. Would you rather have Trey Lance and TJ Hawkinson or Jonathan Taylor? It's a super flex and tight end premium 1.5.
I love Jonathan Taylor, but I'll take the other side. Lance and Hawk.
Me too. We talked about Lance, but talk about TJ Hawkinson a little bit, because I think he's getting a little bit of buzz and seems like his value is, at least in terms of the Twitter world, seems like it's going up recently.
I mean, yeah, there's no one competing for targets, right? So of course it's going up.
Yeah. Very good. Well, thank you again, numbers. And that is one way. The other way that would be great if you guys would like to support us. I'm going to put this scroll up here. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Yeah, right there below, as we talked about. Click the thumbs up, give us a like. All that helps the YouTube algorithm, helps people find the show. And it lets our bosses know that you guys think we're doing a good job here. And we certainly appreciate that. So back to Twitter here. FF Chip Seeker 3, do you think David Njoku gets a starting gig in 2022? What do you think?
Man, I'd say probably, just because there's 32 starting tight end jobs and there aren't 32 tight ends better than him. But, yeah. I mean, Gerald Everett got a starting job this year.
I certainly think it's possible. I think it's up to David Njoku. And I'll tell you, like I did over the offseason, I did a show on the Browns with Matt Waldman, and I asked him this exact question. Like, is David Njoku going to be a guy that we're going to see get a starting gig at some point? Because he seems so talented. And it's a team that, Matt Waldman is a Browns fan. He keeps close tabs on them and mentioned that, like, a lot of it that he's hearing is it's up to him. Like, it depends on how much he can mature. And if he can mature a lot over the course of the next year, then yeah, absolutely. He's plenty talented enough to do so. So, but I think most people agree it's going to have to be somewhere besides Cleveland.
Yeah, it's not going to be there. It'll be somewhere else.
AJ says, absolutely, TK takes care of the patrons no matter what. That's the other way to make sure that you say something really nice about Tyler and me. We're going to put your comment up there.
Mostly me. Really, saying something nice about me goes a long way.
Aaron, 1984. You were here last week too. Appreciate you coming back. Side A, Henry Ruggs, and a 2023 round. Side B. Wait, hang on. Okay,
I think it's in two parts.
He did it again. 20 Ruggs and a 2023 third, or a 2023 first.
Give me the first. I don't want this other side. 2023 is going to be a very strong class, especially in a half PPR where wide receivers are worth less. I don't want this other side. Give me the first.
TK, great job, guys. Love the show. 4 hours is easy for this group. Yeah, and you guys are killing it in the comments again. Appreciate you guys showing up. Let's keep that rolling.
You guys got to give. Let me give you a tip though. Today you can see my the moving has the energy's not quite there. So you guys got to give me something. Make me. I don't want to say make me mad. But give me, if you have any stories about bad league mates, that have done bad things to you, or like something a little more, something exciting, something kind of crazy, or, bad trades or anything like that. Give me something like that. So let me go off. I feel like I need to go off.
Terrible moving stories. If you have anything like crazy moving stories you want to share, that would be great too. Let's get fired up about that. Dylan, he says you're right. He's not going to get you mad. He's going to say, hey, you're right.
That also helps.
Yeah, can't seem to get fair value for him. I don't know why people aren't showing the love. I think because he's kind of an anomaly when it comes to his efficiency. I think that's why people have a hard time trusting it. But like, I think he's now proven a couple of years there in Tennessee. I think he's proven enough for us to start putting some trust. And then they invest in Julio on top of that. Like,
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that move. That's what you want to do, right? I mean, what else do you want to see? Team trade for a wide receiver? That's what you want to see for the quarterback. So, yeah, I really like him this year. He's easy quarterback one this year.
This is a question we've been getting a good bit. I don't know that we've ever had a great answer for it, but is Deshaun Watson worth trading for in Dynasty? What's his price? There's just so many unknowns with him. Some recent news about some of the guys in Denver wanting him to come there and be the quarterback, which might tell you a little bit about the guys they're looking at in practice. But yeah, what do you think?
I'm not trading for Deshaun Watson.
I'm not giving up draft capital for him right now.
I'm not giving up 2 future firsts.
No way.
That's too risky for me. I'm not doing that. So no, I'm not going to do that.
Positive points though on your name here. This Rubik's Cubed is.
I love it.
Great.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. The only thing I would say about Deshaun Watson is if you're in a situation where you would like to lose games in 2021 to tank toward your draft pick, In that case, I would consider trading for Deshaun Watson because he's going to help you lose games this year, and then he'll come back when you want to start winning games at some point in 2022 or 2023. So if that particular situation is the one that you're in, where you're specifically interested in losing a bunch of games this year and can give up another quarterback in exchange, maybe someone older, like if you can get rid of, I don't know, it'll be tough to get rid of Aaron Rodgers, but like if you can give up like Kirk Cousins, well, no one's going to trade for Aaron Rodgers, but with the uncertainty that he's never going to play again, you can't move him. But let's say you could give up like Kirk Cousins and a second-round pick, get Deshaun Watson. I think I would do it if I were trying to lose.
Okay, Matt Ryan.
That won't. I don't want any part of Matt Ryan, so sure, but that won't happen.
Tua.
Well, I don't like failure. So failure, we have a lot of failure. I don't want to say we already have a year of failure. I don't want failure. Watson has a lot of success. So yeah, I'd get Tua away from me and give me Watson.
I'm not worried about his 5 interceptions in practice or whatever it is. Like I don't
want to hear about that. Why do we keep hearing about failure? Why do we keep hearing about failure? Why do we keep hearing that they want to trade for other quarterbacks? Why do we keep hearing about that? That tells you something.
Justin Young, thoughts on trading away a 2022 first and Deontay Johnson for Amari Cooper and Gus Edwards? This guy
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is a terrible idea. Do not do this. I don't know why you would want to.
Deontay Johnson is really good wide receiver, guys. Like he's very, very good. He's going to get a lot of targets. Like
maybe, but it's not that. This value is just a problem. I'm not adding a first to Deontay to get Cooper, who's older than Deontay, just to get Gus Edwards back. That doesn't do it for me. So yeah, give me the Deontay side of this deal. I don't want the other side.
And I recognize your profile picture, and I know I follow you on Twitter, but I don't think this is your same name on Twitter.
Actually, him and I had a nice conversation, not about fantasy football, just about life. Great, We've
Deontay Johnson than
recently.
Than DJ Moore. I would rather have more, but
so would I.
Yeah, it's I have an issue better than wide receiver 26 though.
I have an issue with Big Ben, and whatever I think about Sam Darnold, I think Big Ben is cooked. I have all the Steelers wide receivers lower in my redraft rankings than others. All of them below. Well, maybe Claypool's above consensus because I'm high on him, but Johnson and Juju are way lower than consensus for me in 2021 because I'm worried about Big Ben. We have 2 super chats, so let's do the Watson one first because we were just talking about him.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and put that up.
I'll put that up from numbers again. How high are you drafting Watson in Superflex startup? So just the way I play, this is one of those weird situations where I may have ranked him for my rankings differently than what I would do. I almost never do that. But just personally, I'd rather not put myself with Deshaun Watson intentionally unless I'm trying to lose. And I usually don't go into a startup trying to lose. So you'd usually have to be in a terrible situation. So I have him ranked 32nd overall, and that's quarterback 12. But I just don't want to draft him. It wouldn't make me happy. And I say this sometimes, like part of playing Dynasty is about fun, right? You want to have fun. And I just don't think that going into a startup, I could have any player. I'm going to choose to have Deshaun Watson. But, for people who don't feel that way, I ranked him at 32, and then you can draft him where you like. But like I said, 32 overall, quarterback 12.
So he's going 30 right now, so prettle close to where you have him.
I'm almost in line with his price.
Yeah. So that's an interesting little wrinkle there. Gosh, I think it's one of those moves that if he comes back and plays next year, there's no way that's a move that doesn't pay off for you.
That's correct. Deshaun Watson's going to play in the NFL again, by the way.
Yeah.
That is a certainty. It's just a question of when. I'm more negative on how long that's going to be than I think others are. Like I'm I think there's zero chance he plays in 2021, almost zero or next to zero. And we're talking about when in 2022 or 2023 it's going to be. Like, I think it's going to be a long time. So that's what I think. With that said, we know he has top 5 upside when he's on the field and healthy, and he's still only like 25 years old. For a quarterback, that's young.
Yeah, super young. Lamar Gaming, Cooper Kupp, or Damian Harris plus a 2022 second PPR Superflex.
I mean, it's about even, I would say, because Kupp in a Superflex, to me, I'm not giving a first for Kupp. I'm not. I'm not giving in a Superflex. Just it's too risky. I'm not going to give a first for Kupp. So, how much could Kupp really be worth? Kupp is not worth that much more than this at the best case scenario. So, yeah, I'd probably lean the Harris side, but it's a fair trade.
Kupp's ADP right now, according to Dynasty League Football, ADP is about 100, and Damian Harris's is 107. So this is actually pretty close. That 2022 second might be enough to.
That's not where I have them. I have Kupp. Apparently, I like Kupp more and Harris less. I have Kupp at 87. Although mine, I do tight end premium, but still super flex. Kupp 87, Harris 117.
Yeah, and Lamar, thank you so much for this question. And
fair
again,
trade for me, it's fair. The trade is fair.
Yeah.
If I were really competing, though, give me Kupp. If it's a desperate competing situation, and I think that second is going to be late. But if it's just like an average team, and we don't know where that second's going to be, I'll take the other side.
I think if you, Lamar, if you're, let me know what side of this you're on, because if you're on the Kupp side, I really do. I probably like it more. In most of my dynasty leagues right now, I'm not in a position where I'm trying to trade for wide receivers. Like I'm much more running back needy because I tend to, I've tended to do more of the productive struggle type strategy where I'm valuing those wide receivers a little bit more. So I would have a hard time giving up a running back who, again, getting some good positive buzz right now that I like to hear, and a pick for an aging wide receiver. I just don't think.
Yeah, Kupp's already going to be 28. I nailed the age last time, June 15th, 1993 on the money, but he's going to be 28. Oh, today is his 28th birthday.
Happy birthday,
Happy birthday, Cooper Kupp.
All right.
But he's 28. That means his dynasty value ceiling has passed. So you're trading Harris and a second for a dying asset. And I'm just not sure that Kupp is good enough to be worth it.
Lamar, again, really appreciate the super chat. And if you are in the chat, and we are doing our best to do everything we can to get to all the comments. So many comments coming in.
We will. We're going to get to, we still have 3 hours and 22 minutes left.
Yeah, plenty of time. We're going to get to as many of them as we possibly can. If you would like to get them answered really quickly, you can put the super chat in there. That would be great. If not, then hey, we're going to be here. We're going to do everything we can to answer your question. Also, try to have a little bit of fun. Somebody asked earlier, if you're just now joining us, which NFL superstar would look the best with Tyler's hair?
Doesn't have to be a superstar.
Aaron says Gardner Minshew.
Minshew cut all his hair off. So yeah, he looks much worse now. I think he could use my hair. He
needs it. No doubt. Tom Brady. Yeah. Tom Brady, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Benny chimes in here from YouTube comment. He says 12-team Superflex 6-point passing touchdown. Javonte and a fourth or Tua. Javonte just went in the startup 5'7" and Tua 5'11".
Man,
this might as well just be Javonte for Tua. The fourth is whatever, but
that's rough. I don't want it to be Tua, but I think it is. In a super flex, I think it still is, but I don't like it.
In a 12-team league, yeah, I think I got to side with the Tua side here.
6-point passing touchdowns makes me want Tua more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no lie. Yeah, TK brings up something that is been a little bit of a hot topic on Twitter and in
Was
the
in the
news
news
today.
today. That's why we're talking about it. Yeah, we should talk about Matt Nagy's quote. Let's talk about that. He says that there is no way that Justin Fields will win the starting quarterback job. I have a great idea. This is my proposal. And the chat, tell me what you think of this proposal. I think we should fire Matt Nagy immediately. Immediately fire Matt Nagy. Incompetent head coaching. I volunteer as his replacement. I think I could do a better job, because if I just put Justin Fields on the field instead of Andy Dalton, I would automatically do a better job than Matt Nagy. You know, Matt Nagy, we have such a great offensive mind with the Chiefs. What has he done with the Bears? A lot of Trubisky? Did we like Trubisky? No, a lot of failure. What about Nick Foles? When Nick Foles entered the game, failure. How do we think Andy Dalton? Look at what Andy Dalton did last year when he had Cooper, Lamb, Gallup. He didn't have any of that. He has Robinson and a bunch of maybe. Disaster is incoming. So the Matt Nagy needs to be fired immediately. And this is just a terrible decision. I think he's going to look so stupid. That, let's call the Chargers. I don't want to, wish ill on anyone, but I think we need to call the Chargers medical staff in to correct Matt Nagy's mistake here, because this is just immediately. That's right, immediately. Incompetent. I just don't understand. Just because they promised him in free agency, now they have to stick to that promise. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You earn your time on the playing field in the NFL every day. If you're not good enough, if you're not the best player, you shouldn't play. The better player should play. You got to earn your spot. And I think Justin Fields is better today than Andy Dalton. And I just don't understand how Matt Nagy does not see that. I don't get it. But that's just me.
Another super chat coming in. Aaron, 1984. Appreciate it. Certainly appreciate the support. Again, like, it goes a long way. Our bosses certainly, makes it look like you guys appreciate what we're doing, and that's a great way to show support. So very much appreciate that.
Appreciate
Aaron says,
what is this, Canadian dollars?
Oh gosh, maybe.
A5. That must be Canadian dollars, right?
Which I have no idea the conversion rate, but
whatever. Whatever. We'll
doesn't matter.
So essentially, we have 101 for 103 and a 2023 first in a 1 QB half PPR. So it sounds like, given his question, that he got the 103 and 2023 first. And what do you think he's getting? What do you think he's getting? Do you think he's getting applause, or do you think he's getting booing?
I am going to give him applause. What are you going to give him?
Applause.
Yeah.
I'm giving him applause.
Yeah, because there's three, I think, elite options in this draft. Now, there's other good options that I like, but in terms of elite, like Najee Harris, Kyle Pitts, and Jamar Chase, not necessarily in that order, but yeah, if you can go from 101 to 103 and pick up a first 2 years, yeah, heck yeah.
It's tough though. The half PPR makes me want Najee Harris so badly. I'd probably still do it. I'd still probably rather have Pitts in the 2023 first or ETN in the 2023 first. It's close in the half PPR. ETN's value goes down, whereas the tight end scarcity is so high that the half PPR doesn't matter as much. But ETN specifically is so reliant on his receiving that the half PPR makes him probably go down for me, even though there's no tight end premium. So I'd probably take Pitts at 103 behind Harris and Chase. But Harris in a half PPR is just such a good. I'll still take Pitts in the 2023 first, but it is very close. It is very close. And I would take Pitts at the 103 in the half PPR. That makes me go away from ETN.
Yeah, I love this. If it was 104, I'd probably give a little bit more pause, but
I don't love it. In a half PPR, I mean, Najee has easy top 3 upside because he's just going to get so many carries. Yeah, the receiving work may or may not be there. I'm not 100% sure, but we know he's going to get carries. Think they're going to give carries to Anthony McFailure? A lot of failure. Couldn't even get on the field. We're not going to get any carries. So, Benny Snell, Oh, 20 minutes later, I'm almost at the line of scrimmage. We don't want that. I know I use the same jokes every week, but they're just as bad every week. Whereas Najee Harris is working his ass off to be the star running back that we all want. I'll still take the 2023 first side, but just be aware of how valuable Najee is in a half PPR. That moves him above players for me like Kamara. He'd be even higher in my dynasty rankings, and that it's hard for him to be higher. I mean, he already is very high. He's already running back 7 in my dynasty rankings, but I would move him above Kamara, so he would become running back 6.
Love it. Thank you again, Aaron. Zach hops
what a good
in
question.
with another super chat. Again, appreciate that. Yeah. Superflex PPR, Nick Chubb, and Deontay Johnson, who's been like a theme today. This is great. Or Stephon Diggs, Melvin Gordon, and this year's 203 in a Superflex. That could be pretty valuable.
I'll take the Chubb and Deontay side. Diggs is worth a bit more than Chubb, but not that much more. It's actually not. Apparently, according to ADP, it's the other way around. Chubb is actually quite a bit higher. I have Diggs higher, but I disagree with ADP. So it's about the same if you look at the market value. So then you're looking at Deontay for Gordon in the 203, and Gordon is a lot of failure at this point. Last year wasn't very good. He was okay, but we see what's happening in Broncos camp. Javonte Williams is taking that job from Melvin Gordon. So I don't want Melvin Gordon. 203 is fine, but Deontay is a proven receiver. So I'd much rather have him than Gordon in the 203. Chubb and Diggs are close. So give me Chubb and Deontay.
Do you think Javonte Williams is he going to start from day one there? Like there's kind of some rumors about that right now. What's your take on that?
I have to answer that question. I have Javonte Williams ranked ahead of Melvin Gordon for redraft.
For
redraft. I have Javonte Williams. So on the balance of the season, I believe that Javonte Williams will receive more valuable touches than Melvin Gordon. I have Javonte Williams at running back 26, Melvin Gordon at running back 32. I'm not interested in Melvin Gordon. I don't want any Melvin Gordon. I won't have any at running back 32. But yeah, Javonte running back 26. And if he continues this kind of hype train, he could continue to move up. The upside's there.
There's no way it stays this way, but you're probably not as high on him as I am, but 203 right now would be Trey Sermon. Does that change anything for you if you're able to backfill it with a guy? Did you say you had him did I see that? Where do you have Trey Sermon in your running back rankings, Dynasty?
That's far enough down. Remember that we're doing this manually. We're doing this manually. So we have different technology available. Addison has not yet given me the formula for how to do this.
Come on, Addison.
Well, he said that I could do it, but then when I tried to do it, it didn't work. It didn't work. So I have Trey Sermon in Dynasty running back. He comes in running back 25.
Lamar chimes back in. The follow-up to his previous question. Cooper Kupp would be his wide receiver 3 and a start 3 wide receiver. Harris is more like his running back 6, 7.
Well, if you're competing then I want Kupp if I'm forced to start 3 receivers. Then I'm fine with that.
Yeah. So in other words, it sounds like he's probably got a lot of running back depth. I don't know that I would try to do it with something other than giving up a second round pick.
I don't mind it.
Yeah. I would just try. If you have to, I would do it, but I would try to do it without giving up that second. So yeah, keep the comments.
We missed so many chats up earlier. There were so many.
Yeah. No, I've got it written down here.
All right, yeah.
Where we left off. I'm trying to be a little bit more organized as we get through this, man. Look, we got an intro video. I like it. Organizing.
We did something big news this week. We finally started keeping a real doc of all of the questions. Absolutely. And apparently I saw that you organized it. I thought that was a weak move. I liked it being disorganized, but you thought that we should organize it by topic, which, whatever. I just put the questions wherever, and I just figure that they'll end up in the right spot eventually. But
and eventually I'd like to go through like this a little bit more topically, but like, I don't care. This is just, we're not there yet.
You can't control the questions in the chat come up about any topic. So we got to take what's coming in.
Hollywood Titan says, what up? And what up, Daryl?
Welcome.
He is he's with IDP guys. He's awesome. Make sure
Colleague of
you
mine.
do what?
Former colleague of mine.
Yeah. I've done as many live streams with Daryl as I've done with almost anybody ever. And
we'll break that record.
We will, but I certainly appreciate him. This is a follow-up. Yeah, Trey Lance and TJ Hawkinson
versus Jonathan Taylor in that case.
Oh, yeah.
Let's put we have a super chat. Let's do that. Another one.
Oh, all right. We got to come back to your question.
Sorry. Super chats jump the line. That's the rules.
There we go. Which running back would you get for Godwin straight up? Okay, let's talk about this.
Well, I mean, in my dynasty rankings, I have Travis Etienne just ahead of Godwin and Joe Mixon right behind.
Okay. So let's go through all. Now, is this super flex here? I guess we don't know.
Wouldn't matter. One QB will give you more consistent data for running backs and wide receiver than super flex will.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's go through that then. Let's go through startup.
Yeah, that's actually something that's interesting. And it's funny, nobody that we know could be writing an article about takeaways from the ADP data this month. That we wouldn't know anyone who's writing that. Who would do that right now? Who would do that, right? Who would write that article? It'll be done very soon. And there were a lot of things in that this month's data that I found very interesting. It's only on the one QB data. I would need a whole other article for the Superflex data. It's going to be, we're not even done. I might need 2 parts just for the one QB data. It's very long. But yes, let's get to that. So I said Travis Etienne was just ahead for me and Joe Mixon just behind. But would you do it? Would you do it? Would you actually make that trade? What do you think? Would you do it?
So Travis Etienne, absolutely. I would rather have Travis Etienne than Chris Godwin right now. I'm pretty excited about Travis Etienne. I think there's a chance that Urban Meyer just screws this up completely for us. I think that's certainly within the realm of possibility, but I would like to take that chance. And I love Chris Godwin, but there's so many mouths to feed there in Tampa, man. There's so many mouths to feed. Yeah. I just don't know what the future looks like for him.
But I think I like my rankings. I'd take Etienne over him and I wouldn't take Mixon. So I think I have it right.
Mixon's tough.
No. What do we think about Mixon? What do we have? We have 4 years of a lot of failure. 4 years of failure and not meeting expectations. I don't want failure.
But wait, what's your exception that you always talk about when it comes to the failure thing? You talk about injuries.
Oh, okay. What about 2018 where he didn't meet expectations? What about his rookie year? 2017 didn't meet expectations. And what about 2019? Was he injured in those years? I don't think so. I don't remember him being injured in those years, yet he still failed to meet his expectations in all of those years. So yeah, we have injury too. I don't love injuries. I'm not like, yay, injuries. I want those. No, I don't want those.
All right. What about David Montgomery?
No. I'll take Godwin.
Okay. Yeah, because that's kind of the class right there. Josh Jacobs is the only other one in terms of ADP that's pretty close.
No. Oh, no Jacobs for me.
Javonte Williams?
I'll still take Godwin. Just because Javonte Williams hasn't even stepped on a field. He was only a second-round pick. It's not a guarantee. I'll still take Godwin.
What about Miles Sanders?
Oh, no. Miles Sanders, we have 2 years of boring, 2 years of failure. I don't want that.
Aaron Jones.
No Aaron Jones. 26-year-old Aaron Jones. Potentially no Rodgers. No, I don't want any Aaron Jones. No, not at all.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I'll take Clyde easily.
Yeah, that's RB16. And I think J.K. Dobbins, you'd say the same thing, right?
Yes.
What about, and obviously Najee, that's getting up to RB13.
Yeah, Najee, I have had RB7.
How about Ezekiel Elliott?
Yeah, give me Zeke.
Okay. So yeah, I think those are good targets. I think Zeke probably is a good target if you've got Godwin, because there's a lot of people kind of off the Zeke bandwagon that you might be able to get that.
I think if you were going to do that trade, the time to do it was 3 months ago. Now you won't get it. People are starting to turn to redraft season, look at their lineups. You're not going to get Zeke for Godwin anymore. You may have gotten that 3 months ago, but you won't now. I think Etienne is the man. People are doubting it. If people are doubting it, Etienne is the guy I would target. And I think you agree, given what you think of Etienne's upside.
Yeah,
He would be. I think that's the best case scenario, and I would love to do it. I would love if I could turn Godwin into ETN. The upside with ETN is just, it's immense. Plus first round draft capital. I like that. That's what I want to see.
Hollywood, challenge accepted. This is
not a challenge you're going to win, considering that this show is going to be on forever. The show is literally weekly forever, and it's not to mention that we're going to do other shows. We have a giant show coming up that we're going to do, and there's we're going to do special shows. I have some plans that Cal might not even know about. There are plans. There are plans to do additional shows, many shows that we're going to have. So yeah, unfortunately, that's not much of a challenge.
Okay, Scott, back to your question here. What to do with Mike Williams?
What to do?
What do you do with him?
Hold him, because he has a lot of failure in 4 years. Why does everyone want to? Oh, this is why. Because they want to hear the word failure. That's what they want. They want to hear the word failure. And no, so you got to hold him. Just hope that things come together with Herbert, right? And he has all the upside in the world if he does hit. Yes. What are you going to get for him in exchange? What's someone going to give you? Not what his upside is, right? Nothing. So why not just hold him and just hope for something? You might as well. There's no downside.
Okay, let's talk about a couple of, certainly one name that I know you like. I haven't heard you talk much about Adam Troutman, but just thoughts about Troutman. Cole Kmet missed out on the top 5 guys in a new startup and planning on cobbling together a later round committee. Any other late round sleepers?
These are not late. These are like middle. Like to me, every player in the top 250 is like someone I know a lot about. So these guys are being drafted like in the 10th or 11th, 12th round. These are not sleepers. So sure, I'm fine with Cole Kmet at his price. I'm high on him actually compared to others. And looking at Adam Troutman, I'm a little lower on him. I think that some people think that those two players are similar, and I do not. I think that Cole Kmet is way better.
Okay, tell me why, because I agree with you, but like I like your reasoning.
Evidence. I mean, we have second round draft capital versus third. We have Cole Kmet played near 100% snap shares near the end of a season. Rookie tight end played 100% snap shares ish. There was a game he had 100%. There were other games 80s, 90s. How often does that happen? Rookie tight end outside the first round with those kind of snap shares. How often? Ever? Yeah. I mean, can you think? Name someone. Name someone who's outside the first round. Even Evan Ingram was just a situational player. Mike Ditka.
I don't know.
Mike Ditka was definitely a first round pick. Second round tight end to have those kind of snap shares is incredible. He didn't produce receiving numbers, but he produced a lot more receiving numbers than Adam Troutman. Adam Troutman produced nothing. Adam Troutman is a maybe. He's a black box. You have no idea. It could be anything. I think he has some of the most upside in the world. And if you told me that Adam Troutman was not on our Dynasty rosters in a year, I'd believe you too. Devin Asiasi was a third round pick, tight end. And then, suddenly 2 guys are signed and nobody has Devin Asiasi on their rosters anymore. Adam Troutman has a few bad games. They sign a big guy in free agency and draft another one in the third round, and he's irrelevant. Gone. Worthless. I don't see that Cole Kmet has that kind of downside. I think Cole Kmet's going to get multiple chances. I think Cole Kmet's downside is like, I say Mike Gesicki is a little optimistic, but like that, a worse version of that career path where he gets this year and next to and maybe another to prove himself as their starter. And then if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Why is Jimmy Graham still on the Chicago Bears roster?
Oh, probably because he has naughty pictures of Matt Nagy. That's the only explanation, right? I mean, well, actually, I have another explanation. Because Matt Nagy is an idiot.
Okay.
Is an idiot. That's why. Why? They release like some sort of Pro Bowl corner who's making less than Jimmy Graham. Who I believe you could save $7 million if they cut Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham was playing like minuscule snap shares near the end of the season. They had transitioned to Cole Kmet as the starter. Why is Jimmy Graham still on that team? I have no idea. He needs to at least take a pay cut, like the Jets did with Crowder.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about that.
I'm surprised nobody's asked about that.
Oh, we definitely have some on Twitter we're going to get to here soon. Zach says, on the clock, last pick of a startup.
Oh, this is easy.
Okay, Superflex, 2 PPR, tight end premium. Who you got? Cornell Powell, Olamide, Zacchaeus.
Forget this.
Maybe.
Cornell Powell is one of these players that's worth drafting, and the other 4 are not.
Okay, so, who?
Cornell Powell.
Okay.
You don't. You want these other ones? You want Hollister on the? Apparently, I found out recently today that he's on the Bills.
Okay.
I don't want that. Nick Mullins. No, he signed with the Eagles to do what? Sit on the bench? I don't want that. Conklin. We don't even think there's going to be volume for Irv Smith. A lot of people. I don't want Conklin.
Yeah.
Olamide Zacchaeus. I don't want that. We're talking about Matt Ryan in decline. Maybe as like the 4th option. This is not the Falcons' offense of old. I don't undrafted. We've had 2 years on the team and he's shown nothing. I don't want that. How about the 5th round pick who is playing behind 2 years of failure and Mecole Hardman playing with Patrick Mahomes? Let's think about that. Of the 5 guys that we just talked about, which one of those do we think we want? It's not a hard choice, right? We know who we want.
He agrees with a lot of what you said there. Actually, this came in before we even talked about it. Bears seem like Jimmy Graham has dirt on the owner or something. Yeah. Yeah, ironically, the New Orleans Titan hasn't been much of a factor since Jimmy Graham.
That doesn't matter.
They haven't had very much of a tight end either. Like Ben Watson, they had him for a year. Like that wasn't very
half decent. I used him in my redraft league that year.
Yeah. Late round, I would take a shot at Blake Jarwin. I do kind of like that.
I like that too.
Tyler's not gonna like this one, but I actually do like kind of late round. Gerald Everett. You're probably not gonna call that a late round though. But it's a pick 182.
He's later than Blake Jarwin. It's fine, yeah. But I just the upside's not there. The upside's there with Jarwin. I don't see any upside with Everett at all. We want the 3rd option in Seattle's offense. I just don't think so. I don't think so. Although now they're dealing with injuries to both. What a surprise. Dwayne Eskridge and Rashad Penny are injured again.
CJ says, someone in my league is offering me Devontae Parker, Justin Jefferson, and James Robinson for Aaron Jones and DJ
That can't
Chark.
be Justin Jefferson.
Who is that then? Jameer Jefferson?
But then it's obviously the other side. I mean, you tell me who this is if you're still here. It doesn't make any sense either way.
If it's Justin Jefferson, that's the side you want.
Then he's worth more than the whole other side.
Yes. If not,
then Aaron Jones is worth more than the whole other side.
Yes.
So
correct.
This trade makes no sense either way. So give me Van Jefferson. That still doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, there's too many Jeffersons. You gotta
too many Jeffersons, but also this trade makes no sense no matter who it is. So I'm a little, I don't know. It's very uneven no matter who it is, I think.
Joe chimes in, maybe commenting on somebody else's. If a competitor thinks your team is better, then what's the value in that? Doesn't that mean they like my players more than their own? That must have been a reference to something else.
Yeah, that must be a reference to something else.
TK says, what's the highest buy you guys partake in? I guess this means like in terms of like.
He's asking like, what's the highest monetary amount that we play in?
Not very much.
I
don't play in a lot of like high money leagues.
Yeah, there are people at DLF who are, and I can't speak for you, but there are people, but this isn't you either. Like there are people at DLF who are like dynasty managers first and like way first, and content is just like comes out of their massive amount of dynasty management, like Scott Connor. I'm the exact opposite of that. I'm a content creator first and a dynasty manager second. So, I'm here for you guys way more than I'm here for me. That's why I often explain things in terms of what I would have, in terms of how you guys would do it, less so worrying about myself. So yeah, not very much is the short answer to this question.
Yeah, I just honestly, like, for the same reason that, like, I don't do a ton of gambling, just because, like, it makes things too stressful for me. I love the sport how it is. I love it for the game, and I don't need, like, I like there to be a little bit of something so that people don't just leave their teams and abandon it. Like, I like for them to have some kind of skin in the game, but I don't need it to be a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
Who has better hair
Nobody.
than Tyler in
Next
the NFL?
question. Nobody. Next question.
It used to be Troy Polamalu, but since it's not him anymore, now
I'll do a
there's
commercial
nobody.
with him. I'll do a commercial with him. How about that?
So we're now past the 1 hour mark. We appreciate everybody. We are trying to do our best to get to your questions. If you are in the chat and you're just now joining us, yeah, go ahead.
A lot of them.
Yeah, get those questions in. We're gonna do everything that we can to get to those. We are brought to you by DynastyLeagueFootball.com. Again, just to remind everyone that Monkey Knife Fight connection. Go to DLF if you're not subscribed. It's such a no-brainer. Like, just go there, and where it says, like, become a member, there's a middle part that just says if you go put $10 on Monkey Knife Fight, you can get a free year with DLF.
How does that sound? The free year of all the articles, all the tools, premium forum, trade analyzer, trade finder, everything.
Yes. So seriously, it's something that you need to do. If nothing else, like, take a year and just look at it, and I promise you, you will not be underwhelmed. You are going to be overwhelmed.
That's what I did. I took a year. I was like, I subscribed for a year, and then look, here I am now. So, maybe you'll have the same path if you subscribe to DLF for a year.
Kane says, I have moved a lot. I have never moved without it raining. Did it rain on you today?
Well, this was not a problem because I was moving from one apartment to another in the same apartment building. So it wouldn't have mattered if it rained.
TK, if you're watching this comment got cut off. I don't know what the rest of it says, but you have a bad commish story, and I want to hear it. I like bad commish stories.
So do I.
In fact,
and wait, I want to say something. It's time for promotion. So, if people want more bad commish stories, this is where I got the idea, actually, to mention it. Listen to the Commission Impossible podcast on the DLF family of podcasts with Ryan McDowell and Scott Fish. You'll get all the bad commish stories you want. You should find it on any podcatcher. Anyway, go ahead.
Are you secretly a Cam Newton fan? I don't know what Red Jimmy is talking about here.
No, he knows that I hate Cam Newton.
Okay.
He's poking the bear. A top 10 season. He might be top 10 in failure. Top 10 in failure. We know what I say about Cam Newton. 2018, after his shoulder injury, a lot of failure. He couldn't throw the ball. 2019, starts the season with the Panthers. He can't do anything. He's moving around the pocket, can't escape, nothing. And 2020, what do you have? 8 touchdowns? You want 8 passing touchdowns? I don't want 8 passing touchdowns. And now they drafted Ramondre Stevenson to take away some of the bruising goal line work from Cam Newton. The only reason he survived was because of his, 13 rushing touchdowns, I believe. If that dials back to 9, we have a disaster. Quarterback, 26. I don't want quarterback 26. So, no top 10 season. There are some people that I respect very much who say things like Cam Newton is not washed. Cam Newton's going to have a great year this year. I'm like, is football really that hard? Am I missing something? I watched all the games too. I must have missed the part where he was still good. I must have turned that game off. I remember one good game in 2020, week 2. He had a good game.
Great game.
But I watched all the other games, and I don't remember seeing anything in any of those other games that made me happy. So maybe I watched a different sport. I don't know. Maybe I watched a different sport. That's possible. But, all I saw was someone who was washed down the stretch. No, Addison, I disagree with Addison, who says he was washed since 2016. I disagree with that. It was his shoulder injury in 2018. His shoulder injury in 2018. After that, he's never been the same. It was his throwing shoulder, and he's never been the same.
Joe chimes in. I appreciate the
another
question,
super
Joe.
Chat. Numbers is putting up the super chats. Since I figured it was topical because we were just talking about how Cam has nothing left.
We'll come back to you, Joe. Yeah, number says thoughts on Mac Jones for this year if he starts.
Not very good. I don't want him in fantasy if he starts. We have no wide receivers. We're going to have Jacoby Myers as our wide receiver 1. I don't want that. Oh, guess what? This is the least surprising thing ever. Neither Hunter Henry nor Jonnu Smith made it through practices without injuries. Why does this not surprise me? This is like the least surprising news of all time, that those two are getting injured. I don't want a lot of injuries. We have no wide receivers. They failed to trade for Julio Jones. I don't want any part of Mac Jones this year. That's more of a 2022. I like Mac Jones long term as a potential safe QB2 and Superflex, but this year, no. He's not going to be in your fantasy lineup.
I think sometimes I can go down narrative street with some of this stuff. There is no way that Bill Belichick does not make the playoffs this year. He's making the playoffs. And Mac Jones is going to be his quarterback. And I think there's a really good chance that he does have some things dialed up for him. I get it. I get what you're saying. Daniel, he's pretty good. Like, he's a pretty good offensive coordinator.
But what about who's he going to throw to?
Well, at some point, he's going to have one of, if not both, of Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry on the field. He is going to have, it's Jacoby Myers, it's Nelson Aguilar. It's not, getting a lot out of that. But
yeah,
Tom Brady didn't need a lot of those. Now, Mac Jones isn't Tom Brady, but Josh McDaniel, he's a good offensive coordinator.
No, yes, but no to Mac Jones as a rookie. This is not the kind of offense you want to put a rookie in.
He's going to will them to victory. Mac Jones is a winner, Tyler.
Look, I love Mac Jones, but he can lead them to the playoffs, and you still don't want to put him in your fantasy lineup.
I'm kidding.
He's going to be a game manager.
Joe, back to you. I have a 2022 late first and Myles Gaskin to a good team for Watson and Superflex. Is that a good offer?
I'll take Watson.
Yeah.
My passion's just not there on the Watson questions, like, if you haven't noticed.
The thing is, you have to have a team that can go without having him at all this year. I just think you have to be built that way if you're going to invest in Watson. And you've got to have a good enough running back stable that you can be fine with getting rid of Myles Gaskin, too.
Yeah. What is this video? What is this? A video. A video. He sent me a video.
Okay.
Well, I don't know how we're going to play a video. I don't think we can we can't really play a video, right?
If you said I can.
Can you?
Yeah.
How do we trust Mr. It's a 20.
I don't know.
Okay, it's a 23-minute video.
No, we're not playing a 23-minute video. TK, get out of here.
I may watch that video later for entertainment.
We'll talk about that.
We can't play a 23-minute video. So, yeah. We'll look. How about this? I'll try to watch it before next week and send me another DM like on Sunday or Monday, and we'll see if we can distill something from that and talk about it on the show. How does that sound? Good?
Good.
Okay.
I like it.
But yeah, we can't play a 23-minute video right now. What's next?
Tom says, how do you mitigate veteran Dynasty players taking advantage of newbies in your league?
You're not gonna like my answer.
Value of future first-round picks during a startup after the draft, or is that too late?
Tell the newbies to call me. Call me. You won't be newbies anymore. Look, I have a lot of different, my Patreon. It's a lot of different levels. I have some people who, just want me to kind of like help them with more advanced stuff. But I have people who are literally new. They have no idea what they're doing, and they just want me to tell them what to do. They essentially just want me to draft, and they just want to watch and learn that way. And they learn because I don't just do it. I tell them, I don't let them just give me their account. Like, I make them do it, and I make them understand why am I picking player X, Y, or Z. I don't just tell them pick this guy, pick this guy, pick this guy. Tell them why. So that's what I would do, is tell them to, call me, find an experienced co-manager, something like that. Outside of that, you don't mitigate it. You don't hold people's hand. You learn the hard way. You learn on your own. You can't, if you're going to have help, it cannot come from the people in the league. It's either subscribe to a Patreon like mine, Ask questions. If you don't want to pay for it, that's fair. Ask questions on this show and we'll help you. Ask me questions on Twitter. Don't tag me with 20 other people. I'll never answer it. If you just at me, just me, I'll almost always get back to you. It's just me. I'll almost always get back to you. So like, just, ask questions or find an experienced co-manager. But in this case, you can't. You can't have people in the league helping other people in the league, because you can see, and I think you would agree with this, right, Cal? Like, that is a very slippery slope.
You cannot tell people what they can and can't do with their first round picks. That is definitely
that's out of the question, but that's not even what I was saying. Like,
right. No, yeah, I'm agreeing with you. Like, you can't have rules that like protect newbies.
Yeah, you can't.
Like, so here's the reality of this, Tom. I'm not like, if I'm wrong, look, just tell me. But this is what my gut's telling me about this question. Tom didn't like a trade that went down in his startup league, and he feels like somebody got taken advantage of. And the unfortunate reality of this is, Tom, if there's a bunch of newbies and then some sharks in your league, the league's not going to last. You're going to need a new league.
That's not true.
Yeah, because that's, like, I've seen this happen so many times where when this happens, people are getting rid of their first, and all of a sudden they don't have the kind of year that they think, and now they don't have first round picks. They're not coming back next year. And
you
before
can usually
you know it,
fill those orphans nowadays, though.
It depends on how much money there is.
They used to. Leagues don't fold as much as they used to.
It depends on how much money there is in this, because if this is like a $50 buy-in, you're asking somebody to do a $50 buy-in, and they don't have any assets. You're just asking them to donate to your league for a
$50 buy-in. You can find that's easy to fill.
I don't know.
But $50 buy-in. You put it on Twitter, you'll find someone. The $50 is, to most people on Dynasty Twitter, is not that much. But a $300, if this were like a $200 or $300 buy-in, it would be a problem. Because no one's going to take that team. No one's going to take it, no matter what. It's really, I'd say the line is 100 or higher. It starts to become a problem to fill really bad orphans. Less than 100, I think you'll be able to find a taker.
I don't like the promise of this league.
Let me say one other thing. If you're going to do, and this isn't a promotion because I've actually never used their service, but if personally, I've never used it. So, I don't, but if you're going to use a buy-in of $100 or higher, I would suggest doing it on something like safe leagues, something that's, doesn't have to be safe leagues, but some sort of thing like that gives you some insurance that the league is not just going to fold. I would not be comfortable just doing a $200 buy-in with people. That wouldn't work for me. I'd want to have some sort of like backing or insurance to know that this league's just not going to fold in some way. And put up we'll get to the super chat, but just on this, while we're completing this topic, let's put up this last comment because this is also a good idea. And then we'll get to the super chat next. Several leagues have adopted pay in advance when trading away future picks, and that's one way to mitigate it. And I would say that it's a pain in the ass, right? Because that means you have to collect a buy-in anytime a future pick is traded. I would say my preferred policy is that you must pay half of the future buy-in for any future first traded. I think the full buy-in is too much. Oh, another good idea, but half. What do you think about that? Paying half the future buy-in for any year that the future first is traded. So if you trade your 2022 first, you pay half of 2022. Trade your 2023, it's half of 2023. Only your first, though.
100%. Yes. I think you've got to have something invested in the future, and because again, like, it's just really hard in a dynasty league when you start off with a bunch of people that, like, again, like, if this is a bunch of new people to dynasty and you're gonna expect everybody to treat it seriously and be committed, like, I just don't think that's gonna happen. Like, I think you've got to have something in place like that, paying for next year, think something like that has got to be in there. Now, you're not ever going to like put it up for a vote or try to veto trades or none of that stuff. You can't do that.
No,
like under no circumstances.
What happens in that case is if the person doesn't end up paying, the trade stands, and then you have to find someone new. Yeah. You can't reverse the trade. And then this, I think, is a must. I wouldn't join any league that didn't have this. A 2-year
Yeah.
upfront. If it's a dynasty league, you should be willing to pay the first 2 years when you begin.
Yeah.
Why bother doing a startup if you're only committed to 1 year? You should be committed to 2 years when you're doing a startup. 100%. I think that there's no excuse to have it any other way, personally.
Let's get to this. Is a really good conversation. I love conversations like this. Let's get.
And we'll get back to it.
Thoughts on these trades they did a couple weeks ago? Gabriel Davis and
Jeff
Wilson for Adam Thielen, and then Carson Wentz for Keenan Allen. I have a feeling I know how you feel about the second one.
Well, let's talk about the first one first. I'll take Thielen. I'll just take the rest of Thielen's career. Wilson is nothing now that he's injured, and Gabe Davis, he's fine, but just a flyer. A good flyer, but nothing special. So just give me the rest of Adam Thielen's career. I think that's a pretty easy one.
I agree with that too. I think Gabriel Davis is somebody that we can get excited about. Like
I like him, but the value.
I'm with you. Yeah. Adam Thielen is going to mean a lot more for you this year, and there's a reason to think he can't for the next couple of years be productive for you. Like you said, right out.
If you're a contender, you got Thielen for two guys you picked off of waivers last year. Think about it that way.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
So you essentially got Thielen for absolutely nothing.
Superflex League, are you trading Carson Wentz for Keenan Allen?
Oh. Oh. Old and failure. Old versus failure. What do I like less? Old or failure? Give me old. Give me Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
I don't want failure. I don't want failure. I don't want Carson Wentz. If anyone hasn't looked up, I mentioned this almost every time we talked about Carson Wentz, but I suggest go onto YouTube and look Carson Wentz lowlights. And you'll understand what I'm talking about. I mean, let's give you a few excerpts. How does 50 sacks taken in 12 games sound? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That feels like the kind of thing that, like, yes, I know his offensive line was bad, but like
50?
Goodness gracious. Like,
okay.
That's so many.
How does 5.2 adjusted yards per attempt sound? Is that good or bad?
Pretty bad.
Very bad. That's worse than Drew Lock was last year.
Good.
He last. Carson Wentz last in that category. Okay. How does an interception percentage of 3.4 interception percentage sound? How does that sound? Good or bad?
Bad.
Very bad. How about 3.7% touchdown? Touchdown and interception percentage is kind of similar. Do we like that or do we not like that?
We don't like that.
We don't like that. And then how does 218.3 passing yards per game sound? Is that good or bad?
Yeah, it's bad.
Not good.
It's not good.
The only reason people say Carson Wentz was usable in fantasy last year is because he had 5 rushing touchdowns. Carson Wentz has 8 career rushing touchdowns. He had 5 of them last year. Do you think Carson Wentz on a team with Jonathan Taylor is going to have 5 rushing touchdowns this year? What do you think? Yes or no?
Yeah, no chance.
No chance. So, yeah, people just quote his fantasy numbers, but they don't look at the 5 rushing touchdowns, and we know those are 6 points each compared to a passing touchdown in most formats, 4 points. They don't see that those 30 points from the 5 rushing touchdowns, which is completely an aberration from the rest of his career, are propping up his fantasy numbers. And, he doesn't get penalized for the sacks, except in Scott Fishbowl, where he does. I think he was negative in Scott Fishbowl. It's -1 for every one of those 50 sacks. And his 57.4% completion, remember, you need 66.6% in Scott Fishbowl to be even. How much negative do you think 57.4% completion was? It was big negative. So we don't want that.
Yeah.
So I don't care. I don't want any part of this. So give me Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen has Justin Herbert. He's the clear number 1 receiving option on that team. Give me the rest of Keenan Allen's career. He's a possession style receiver. He's going to age well. I want that, the rest of that career, over whatever failure is going to do for me.
Thank you for that super chat numbers. We appreciate that. That is one of the ways that we are answering questions here today. So that is the way that you get your comment put almost immediately up.
We got me to talk about failure. That's good. That's
right.
Right.
So back to we're going to do everything we can to get to all of these questions, but we are definitely running behind, and we appreciate it. Chat, stay locked in. Keep those questions coming. We certainly appreciate it if you're here.
We will get to them.
Get them in. We're talking football, and we appreciate you guys joining us for that. What about Deontay Johnson straight up for Amari Cooper?
No, give me Amari Cooper. Give me Amari Cooper. Yeah. I mean, Cooper is, what are we talking? See if I can nail this one right on the money. June 19th, 1994 is speaking to me. June 19th, 1994. Deontay, I know, is July 96. So a 2-year age difference between Deontay and Cooper. But that's not enough to make up for the fact that Amari currently has Dak Prescott as quarterback and Deontay has washed Ben Roethlisberger with no succession plan. Plus, also, there's competition for Deontay, too. It's not like he's the clear one on that team. I mean, I think he is the one, but there are other players as well. It's a similar situation to what Cooper finds himself in, except with a much worse quarterback. So, give me Cooper.
Agreed. Joe asks, what's the minimum 2022 draft pick you take for a sophomore wide receiver who failed last year?
This is too vague of a question.
Let's say Brian Edwards.
I'd want a second for Edwards.
Money
talks. They didn't really replace him in the draft. They didn't really sign. All they signed was wash John Brown in free agency. So money talks, draft picks talk. So that they must still believe in Edwards somewhat.
Ruggs.
Ruggs is worth even more than Edwards. Same thing, except he has first-round draft capital.
Denzel Mims.
Oh, no. I don't want Denzel Mims. Denzel Mims, a lot of failure. We have a lot of failure. Last year, failure. And now we have Corey Davis brought in free agency. Why sign Corey Davis? Why? They didn't have to sign him. But they signed him to 3 years. What was it, $48 million? They didn't have to do that. And then why would they draft Elijah Moore higher in the second round than when they drafted Denzel Mims under this new coaching staff? And then why would they bother to sign Keelan Cole to, what was it, a 1 year, $5.5 million contract? Why bother? And then they find a way to retain Jamison Crowder. Why? Why not just release him? If they really believed in Denzel Mims, who they had on the team previously, why would they do all of these things? What does that tell you? Where is Denzel Mims? Now he's the 6th receiver on the depth chart at training camp. I don't want this. This looks like a failure. So I'll take a third for Denzel Mims and just move on. I don't want him. Period.
One more. Jalen Reagor.
I mean, Jalen Reagor, just based on the depth chart, is still the number 2 wide receiver there. So I'll give Jalen Reagor another chance. He also has first round. I'm much more likely to get first round draft capital a second chance than I am second or third.
Tommy Gunn. What are your thoughts on 2 rookies for Dynasty? Ramondre Stevenson and Dyami Brown. Can they be an RB2 and a wide receiver 2 in the future?
I'd say no on both. Dyami Brown is going to struggle to be a wide receiver 2. I don't see that Washington, with Terry McLaurin on the team, you'd need to be very good to be a wide receiver 2 alongside Terry McLaurin. And I just don't think Dyami Brown is that. I think that he's going to push Curtis Samuel for the wide receiver 2 role on the team relatively soon. They seem to really like him, but I would say wide receiver 2 is lofty. I think you're hoping for wide receiver 3 numbers out of Dyami Brown. I don't think he's going to be a wide receiver 2. It's hard to be a wide receiver 2 in fantasy, actually.
Stevenson would have to win the job.
That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. He's not going to win the job over Harris. So in the future, Harris still has 2 years on his rookie deal, though. I don't see it. I think it's unlikely. He'd need to do the LeGarrette Blount season again. And that was with Brady. I don't know if Mac Jones is Brady. So I'm leaning no. But it's easier to be a running back 2 than it is to be a wide receiver 2 because there aren't as many running backs. So if Ramondre Stevenson has that double-digit touchdown outlier season, he could do it. Whereas De'Ami Brown, it's just going to be hard for him to ever be a wide receiver 2. I like him, though.
Reese asked about Jared Goff for a second. Hope his value rises in season. I'm assuming this means in Superflex.
It has to be Superflex. Because in 1 QB, he's not worth even that. Oh, man. It's hard to trade away a quarterback you know is going to start all season for a second, but I think he's going to be worthless next year. It's hard. I would say just hold him. If all you can get is a dry second, that's just not that appealing in a super flex. I think you can probably do better, so I'd pass. 2 seconds, though, and I'd just get rid of him.
I don't know if anybody else cares about this. This is a fantasy show. But just for a second, like the back and forth right now between Sean McVay and Jared Goff, like the pettiness between these two is just like, I love it. I'll read every story that mentions something about it. I'll read every word you write about it. So I love every Jared Goff and Sean McVay story possible.
Jared Goff is not good. That's why there's pettiness.
It's so funny to hear like what, like, because McVay has comments about it. And then somebody asked Goff about the knee biting thing. And he was like, well, it's good to know that he's genuine.
Oh my God.
Yes. This is just,
those two hate each other, man.
I love it. Keep them coming. Joe says 2 or 4 million interceptions.
It was only 5. It was only 5.
Yeah, 4 million would be a record. That's it would be so many interceptions. Ed generally dislikes Patriots backs, but doesn't mind Stevenson as a cheaper option.
I like him.
He's going really cheap.
I like him as a cheaper option, but it's hard for him to be a running back too, unless there's some injuries.
Agreed. So here's a salary cap and our auction start question from AJ McMahon. Rookie draft pick order determined by most salary left. So an incentive to not spend your money. That's interesting. Near the end of an auction, owner offers anyone. Oh, anyone.
I love that.
Okay.
I've never seen it abbreviated that way.
Yeah. A draft pick to take over one of his bids to get a higher rookie draft pick. Is that okay or not okay? I feel like I need a little bit more context.
I feel like I need more detail.
Yeah.
Like, my instinct is no, that it's not okay, but there are league formats like this where it would be. So I think I need more detail than I think we're going to be able to get from like text typed out.
Yeah, because like what does he mean? Like somebody to intentionally like overbid someone that he offers up in an auction? Like that feels a little bit more collusion-y to me if there's something like that going on. But otherwise, I don't know how to put into context what he's saying.
I'm not sure we're understanding this question correctly.
I'm not in a league like this, I guess.
Neither am I.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit. I would say this might be one where you got to go to the bylaws. Actually.
Yeah.
Like actually, this one might depend on what's written in the bylaws. Like, it's hard because generally, if it's not written in the bylaws that you say you can't do it, then you can. But a lot of bylaws have a very vague, and I recommend this, very vague best interests of the league clause. And I'm not sure where this falls on that. Is this really ruining the league? Probably not, but it doesn't feel right. So I don't know. I'm sorry that I don't have a better answer for this question, but I just think I need a lot. There's not enough detail here for me to really give a strong stance one way or another on whether it was right or wrong.
Numbers back in the super chat. Appreciate you, Numbers. Which rookie outside the second round in rookie drafts do you think will have fantasy relevance this year? Nico?
Nobody.
Long? I guess that's Hunter Long from Miami.
No,
I don't know if he's outside, but Kenny Gainwell.
This year, I think you're looking at a tough group, really.
So let's see. Nico Collins. Here's 25 through, let's say, 30. So Nico Collins, Chuba Hubbard, Ramondre Stevenson, Josh Palmer, Dwayne Eskridge. You got the Davis Mills, Kyle Trask, Tylen Wallace, Elijah Mitchell, Tutu Atwell.
No.
Hunter Long he's well outside of that first. Brevin Jordan.
No.
None of these guys are.
I'm not seeing anyone there. Elijah Mitchell has a chance if somehow Trey Sermon isn't it.
True.
But yeah, I mean, I mentioned Cornell Powell earlier. And yeah, if CMC goes down, Chuba would be relevant.
Right. But I don't expect that. So I don't think
I'm not betting on that.
Right.
So yeah. I mean, Jared Dokes somehow. Miami running back.
And that one does seem possible just because it seemed like they kept the Myles Gaskin thing so internal. Like nobody expected that last season, and then all of a sudden he was a starter. Everybody was expecting Breida or Howard, and then all of a sudden from day one was the guy. So it's possible they could keep that inside and go to him, but
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Nico is one of my favorite, though, outside of the top 2 rounds.
But I don't want someone with Tyrod Taylor or.
No, but next year he's going to have.
Yeah, but that's not the question. The question is this year, and this year I don't even want Brandon Cooks, let alone another receiver there.
True.
So, yeah, we have another super chat. So
Colvin. He says,
"Should you that's a good question.
Always ask for advice before accepting trades, or is it okay to make some decisions on your own?"
I mean, if you can't make decisions on your own, then I assume that anyone who signs up for my Patreon or, is asking me for help wants to get to the point that they're eventually making decisions on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Or is just using me as a sounding board. And I have plenty of Patreons in that group. So I assume that. But I will say that there have been some people that I've worked with where I tell them your trading license is revoked. You're done. You will not make any more draft picks. You won't make any more trades. We need to take you to boot camp. We have a problem here. What you did got you to a bad. It was bad. A lot of failure in your previous Dynasty move. Somehow you got here. So we're going to stop that. And we're going to only do Tyler approved moves for the next until I say so. So depends on where you're at in your Dynasty game, really. When I started out, I used to ask before doing anything. Eventually, I graduated to doing it on my own, and now I'm here. So we all go through those kind of stages.
I'll still at times though, I'll double check, especially if I'm making an offer to someone. Sometimes I want to make sure that my values aren't totally off centered, and I'll check with a trade calculator, on DLF, for instance.
I just have those values memorized. So
and even Dynasty Trade Calculator has a great calculator out there. A lot of great ones out there. Just double check in. I mean, I think that's also sometimes I feel more comfortable answering somebody else's trade questions sometimes than my own. So I think getting some trade advice, asking someone who you consider pretty smart, just to maybe even double check or confirm what you're thinking. I do think that's good. Obviously you don't have to, it's your team. You can go get your guy. Yeah.
No, for sure. It is what it is. I mean, you can do whatever you want. It's your team, but there are some people who should not make trades on their own.
Yeah.
Or need some help to get there.
Yeah. You'll need a written letter from Tyler saying that you're okay to start doing your trade.
We say, this is something interesting. Fantasy football should be fun, but losing isn't really fun. If you're just demolishing your Dynasty team by making bad trades, you might have a little bit of fun from getting the players you want. But I guarantee you that if every season is a 2-11 season, you're not going to be having a lot of fun. So, just keep that in mind. There's winning. You don't have to win, but if you always lose, you're probably not going to have a lot of fun.
The chat is totally on fire right now.
I know there's so many questions coming in the chat, and we're like not getting to them.
Yeah. So here's what we're gonna try and do a little bit of a. Now I love that we spend time on these questions. Like, let's not like shortcut it, but we're gonna try and go through these like maybe a little bit faster. But I'm gonna go through because we're in danger. StreamYard only carries them for like an hour or for a certain amount, and we're like pretty close to that. So we're going to go through these. I'm going to try and get the questions as
go back
as I
up
can.
To the top.
Scott says, what to do with the 106, not a specified. So who is your rookie 106?
What is this, 1 QB? It has to be if he's considering Devonta Smith.
Yeah, 1 QB. 106 is not going to be Devonta, yeah.
Take Smith anyway. Get over it.
Anyway? I like Waddle better.
No. I'll take Smith. Get over it.
Yeah, this I think is in reference to the type of money that Aaron was giving us earlier in the super chat. So we will see.
That doesn't tell us, but I assume it's Canada.
AJ has a nickname for Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Boredom. I love it. AJ knows me very well. I love it.
Monte Teo's girlfriend says, no Melvin Gordon, even as a cheap handcuff.
He's not cheap. And he's not even a good handcuff because the Denver offense is not that great right now. So no, I don't want Gordon.
Taylor Cornell, love you, Taylor. A fellow 111 drafter, by the way. Certainly good to see you in the chat room there, Taylor. Is this where I get to ask trade questions?
Well, you should have asked one.
Yeah, come on, Taylor.
Ask one. Ask a trade question. I want to hear about that.
By the way, if you're not following Taylor, I love Taylor. Go hit him up on Twitter.
Sorry, I have to interrupt you.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Colwyn.
Thank you.
Thank you for the super chat here. Someone sent me Nick Chubb, Chase Claypool, a 2023 second and a 2022 first.
What?
For Russell Wilson.
What?
And I accepted. My QBs are now Kyler, Trevor Lawrence, and Matt Ryan. Congratulations.
Do we have a congratulations drop? Do we have can we get what's it called? Like a woo woo kind of thing? Can we get that somehow? I mean, look, in a super flex, Chubb and a first is already an overpay for Russell Wilson.
This is not a trade that yes, you can do this one on your own, Colin. Good.
No. Don't wait for us. Don't wait for us to tell you to do this one. Yeah, you accepted it. You did the right thing. You accepted it and then came here and bragged about it. That's what you do. That's what we want to hear about. We want to hear about that we've given you good advice here. You do the trades on your own, and then you come here and brag about getting an absolute steal. And I think your quarterbacks are still okay. You have Kyler, Lawrence, and then Ryan is, I don't love him, but quarterback 3, it's not a horrible situation. You have Kyler and Lawrence, so you're going to be okay. And now you go trade Chubb for you can trade Chubb for a lesser running back and a quarterback maybe, or something like that. And
this is a fantastic running back room right here too. I mean, this is between Chubb, Barkley, Akers, Gibson.
And now there's an additional 2022 first added.
Yeah.
Which could be another quarterback. Could be a quarterback next year. Who knows what it could be? And then Claypool too, who was one of my favorite players. And then not that we needed it, but another second. Like this is ridiculous. So okay. Easy one.
Teo said rank them James Robinson, Melvin Gordon, Zach Moss, or AJ Dillon.
Okay. So in Dynasty, I assume I don't know anything's Dynasty. So Robinson, Dillon, Moss, Gordon.
Yes. Yeah, because Robinson still has the opportunity to be, like we've talked about the Mark Ingram role, and dividing it up that way. I think he's still got a chance of being that. Him and Dillon is close because Dillon could do that too.
Yeah, but we have no Rodgers, and then the whole touchdown upside's gone.
Okay. Here's what's cool. I don't think he's even talking about us. I think he's talking about the people
He's talking about the people in the chat. Yeah, he's not talking about us.
Which I love that. That's great. So
I love that. I think that's something we didn't expect.
Yes.
I don't think we expected the amount of interaction during the live show and in the chat as we're getting. That I think is something that has been a surprise, a pleasant surprise to us. And we appreciate all of you for that. More amongst yourselves than for us. I mean, seems like people are looking forward to coming into the chat and talking to each other, which we love.
Joe says, I wouldn't trade my Travis Etienne for Godwin.
I agree.
Agreed with. Taylor did actually.
So he did? Okay, he did. So we'll answer
here. Good. So tight end premium, PPR, pick a side, J.K. Dobbins, Irv Denzel Mims.
Or.
I guess this has got to be or, right?
Yeah, because the comma, there's no comma there. So the or is probably after Mims.
Yeah. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Dallas Goedert, or Rondell Moore.
Oh.
This is easy for me.
It's easy for me, too. It's the CEH side.
I like CEH more than Dobbins. I like Goddard more than I like Irv, and I like Rondell more than I like Mims.
Yeah, I mean, I think CEH and Dobbins are essentially equal.
Yeah, they're close.
I like Goddard more than Irv and Rondell more than Mims. So, easy. And Mims to me is totally worthless. So, I want it. Yeah, he doesn't add any value. And I still have a lot of belief in Rondell Moore.
Let's see. Love your work, guys. What a disaster.
A true disaster, what he's been doing. He's been a failure at practice, total failure. Teddy Bridgewater's winning that job right now if it's going to be those two, but I think they're going to trade for Aaron Rodgers. I just cannot believe that the Packers management is so incompetent that they're just going to let Aaron Rodgers sit there. What does that accomplish? His value is going to go up? I don't think so. It's not like Deshaun Watson, who's 25 years old. You think Aaron Rodgers' value at 38 years old is going to go up if you can't use him during the 2021 season? I don't think so. I don't know what they're thinking of doing that. So I think that they're going to relent. I think as we get to August, I don't care how many days Aaron Rodgers has to prepare for the season. You could trade for Aaron Rodgers on September 3rd, and I'd still rather have him than, Teddy No Arm and Drew Disaster. So at any point, you could have Aaron Rodgers. I don't want Drew Disaster. I don't want any part of that. You saw last year that Teddy Bridgewater supported 3 fantasy wide receivers. Now, a lot of that was because Christian McCaffrey was out of the lineup. And they don't have anything at tight end there, which is different than it is here. But here, we have 2 receivers and a tight end. So Teddy Bridgewater, even if he's not going to get a lot of volume, he might be able to support some decent receivers there. So if you're a Jerry Jeudy manager, pray that Teddy Bridgewater wins if it really comes between these two. Because we saw Drew Lock and Jerry Jeudy last year, and it was not good.
Yeah, I agree. I still think, especially with Pat Shurmur there, I think Teddy represents the best possible scenario for the offense as a whole because he's going to operate much better within the system than Drew Lock will. Drew Lock needs somebody that just says hey, backyard, everybody go do this, and I'm gonna find it. That's not gonna work well long term, but he's not gonna work well in the system. It's gonna be even worse.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you 2 players.
Okay.
Two lists of statistics. You tell me which of those 2 players you think is better.
Okay.
Which one do you prefer? Here's player A. Player A caught 42 of 84 targets for 704 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's player A.
Okay.
Player B caught 52 of 113 targets for 856 yards and 3 touchdowns. Which one sounds better, A or B?
Gosh, both caught half their targets. That's not very good.
Which one sounds like as a whole they did more?
The one with the most yards, I guess. But gosh, and the most receptions. But gosh, neither. I don't like either.
Well, you were choosing between Cortland Sutton's rookie year, which was player A, and player B was Jerry Jeudy's rookie year. So
B.
Yeah. B was better. And, they both had failure at quarterback, but B produced more. So I'm all in on Jerry Jeudy.
Husker says, speaking of failure, if you had to, I guess it's had to choose, who are you taking for your QB2?
Well, I can tell you who I'm not taking. I'm not taking Jared Goff. We have failure, lots of failure. We have bad coaching staff. Anthony Lynn, failure on the coaching staff. We don't want failure. And then we also have lack of weapons, failure to surround him with any weapons. No weapons on the team, no receivers. Rashad Perryman already struggling in camp. Tyrell Williams, nothing heard about Tyrell Williams. Amon-Ra actually looks decent. He looks decent, but we're talking about a 4th-round rookie. That's what we're talking about as good. And then we hear Quintez Cephas looks good. I think I would look pretty good playing next to Rashad Perryman and Tyrell Williams. A lot of people would look good. So I'm not interested in hearing about any of that. So I don't want any part of Jared Goff. That one is a no from me. Between the other two, if I had to choose, I'll take Daniel Jones because he runs.
It's easy, Daniel Jones, because of that fact. Daniel
Jones because he runs over Sam Darnold because he does not.
Absolutely.
But with that said, well, I mean, Daniel Jones has decent weapons too. I mean, on the balance,
way upgraded.
I mean, McCaffrey offers more than Barkley, especially in the passing game. But in Galladay, who's going to offer more in 2021, Galladay or Moore? I think it's about the same. You know, Moore we have valued higher in Dynasty, mostly because he's younger, not because he's going to be better next year. And then, you know, between the Giants trio, Panthers have really not much. They have Marshall, they have Anderson, and they have nothing at tight end, whereas the Giants have a little bit more of a mishmash of more players who aren't quite as good between Tony, Shepard, Slayton, and Ingram. They have more depth, but not quite as good. So the weapons are kind of similar because Daniel Jones runs and Sam Darnold doesn't. It's Daniel Jones.
We have another super chat here from Numbers. Thoughts on Jordan Love if he starts this season?
Well, that has nothing to do with Jordan Love. I mean, that only has to do with Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers decides that he's coming back to the Packers, then Aaron Rodgers will start.
Let's say he is starting. What are your thoughts on him in terms of a dynasty asset?
Oh boy. I don't want him. I'd like to sell him. Yeah, please, off my team. I don't want him. Take any first you can get. The second he's named the starter Aaron Rodgers is traded, you might be able to get a future first, then I would take it. I'd just move on. You got him in the mid to late second last year is where he was going. If you could turn that into a first, I would just do that and just not deal with it. Because you're probably not in a position, if you've put yourself in a position where you were relying on Jordan Love to be a starter, your team was horrible because you weren't expecting that until like 2 months ago. So you're probably not in that position. It would probably be a bonus, and I would just decline that bonus, trade him away, and just get something else that I like. I'm scared of him. I don't think he's that good.
Numbers also agreeing with you earlier.
100%. The upside is there. He's also tearing it up at camp. Another reason to read beat reports. I mean, we know Mecole Hardman, lots of failure, 2 years of failing to gain any sort of regular role in the offense. Couldn't even beat out Demarcus Robinson, total jag, and Sammy Watkins, lots more failure. So, you know, we want a potential third target in that offense. We don't think Patrick Mahomes can support 3 fantasy relevant receivers, Hill, Kelsey, and someone else. I think he could. The problem is that all of his secondary receivers past those top 2 have sucked. Maybe if someone were good, they would have a possibility. So I love Powell here. He's one of my favorite sleepers in all of Dynasty, not just among rookies.
Tom Tipple says, "What's up, mates? Certainly appreciate that, Thomas. Appreciate you stopping in. Another great guy to follow on Twitter."
You know what
and
it reminds me of a lot, actually? You know what it reminds me of? Well, what it reminds me of, not as good of an offense. Last year, we had a 2nd-round pick going into year 3 and a 5th-round pick, you know, who was kind of not really highly regarded by a lot of people. And then, you know, the 5th-round pick outplayed the 2nd-round pick. You know who I'm talking about?
I know.
Darnell Mooney and Anthony Miller.
Yeah. Okay.
So here is the same thing. We have a 5th-round pick who I think could outplay the 2nd-rounder.
AJ, we appreciate you tuning in, and for all of you guys tuning in, we appreciate, you know, it's you guys have stuck with us here, and we're still going. We've got a lot of questions to get to, and we are not doing a very good job of like going fast.
I want to say something because it's a super chat, so I feel like it's worth a little bit of extra time. I just want to say that I appreciate you, AJ, not just as someone who follows my show, but as a person. So you're a very nice person that I'm very happy that I've met. So I just wanted to say that I appreciate you.
Very cool. Yep. Thank you, AJ. So we are now at a point where we're losing some of our comments.
And that's going to happen. And we're sorry about that. But
yeah.
Let's think about why that's happening. That's happening because there's so much activity in the chat.
Yeah, it's awesome. Keep
pushing everything down, which is awesome. So we're having too much activity.
So Nate, who I pulled Nate's comment up earlier. Nate, he was asking about Gerald Everett. We have talked about him a little bit. And Ed chimes in with an answer to that first option.
Speaking of another one of the people who've supported me the most, thank you, Ed, for everything that you've done as well. But yes, I completely agree with you. The first option is running the ball, but also they just signed Tyler Lockett to a $69 million extension, and they have DK Metcalf on the team. I just don't think that the passing volume is going to be there. Even if it's not run first, it's going to be a good mix. So Gerald Everett is kind of someone I can take or leave, and I'll probably leave him.
We have some possible answers to who the Jefferson was earlier in the question. Addison says maybe it was Thomas Jefferson.
Jefferson. That would be interesting. He would have a lot of value, I think, as one of the fathers of our country.
I can't remember who asked the question. It might have been Teo, but if it is, then
it wasn't.
The answer is
it was CJ Moore, I think, or something.
But a lot of people seem to think it was.
Well, if it was Van, then it was the other side.
That's right.
Okay, we have we have another super chat. We're not answering what Scotty Miller looks like. Okay, this is two questions in one. Let's start with the first part. How do I find all of these beat reports? I have no sources. Nothing. I just look on the internet the same way that you would. I follow a list on Twitter. Believe it's Jeff Lambert's list of NFL beat reporters. So because I follow that list on Twitter, beat reports show up in my feed more often than for others. I might suggest, I think it's Jeff Lambert's list, not 100% sure. I might suggest go look that up. Go look up NFL beat reporters Twitter list, follow it, and you'll see the same beat reports that I do. Now, then I go in and read them. I go in and read them. Occasionally, if I'm really interested, I'll go. I do have a subscription to The Athletic. So sometimes I read articles there. I find that to be worth it. It's not very expensive. And the articles are interesting. I find that there's insights there. I listen occasionally. I don't know if anyone's heard of the Locked On Podcast Network. Occasionally, if I really want to know, I'll listen to like the team specific one. I listened to the Packers one a while back about Rodgers and Love, and there was something insightful on there. So yeah, it's really just working hard and looking for it. I have no sources for any of that other than what you could have. It's all there for you if you look for it. I don't have anything special other than subscribing to The Athletic, and maybe being in the DLF like Slack is helpful because I'll hear about it. People talk about it in there, my Twitter groups or something. But again, we're not talking about special articles or anything. We're talking about people sharing publicly available info. So I would say, just look for it. And, if you ever want me to, a lot of the time I see something and then I just put it in the back of my brain, and I don't keep like a running list of where I found it exactly, but I just try to keep track of like who's trending on Sleeper, who's trending on Twitter. And then if it's really a drumbeat, I'll go and actually read some of the articles to get more of an in-depth, thing. Kind of like that whole stuff about Najee Harris. I actually read the article to see that Najee Harris was spending extra time at practice. So that was something that was interesting. A little tidbit that I found intriguing. And then I have a lot of info trying to be like you in fantasy. I appreciate that. And then how do I find your Patreon? We can drop the link. You want to drop the link? I don't know how to do that. How do we do that?
Toss it up in the private chat, and I will toss it into a.
So when I did my Patreon, I do not know how this is possible, but I have patreon.com/fantasy advice somehow. That was available. So
that's easy to remember. There you go.
Yeah. But I dropped the link in the private chat. So, I can probably post a comment. So I think I can post it right here. Like, I think that'll work. Yes, I did. So I just put it from here. Oh, Cal.
There you go.
A lot of people did it. A lot of people put the stuff there. So, it's right there in the chat. So if you just copy and paste that, it'll take you to my Patreon and my tiers. But yeah, we don't want to spend too much time on my Patreon, but I am dedicated to them. And, I do always ask in there if people have questions on the show, and I put those on the show sheet as well.
Let me just say one more thing about these beat reporters. This is a skill. To me, this is still the dividing skill in dynasty leagues and fantasy leagues. And honestly, just in life, like your ability to think critically. Not every beat report has dynasty implications. Not every beat report is going to do something for your team long term. It's just not. You're going to have to actually, in a lot of these cases, if you see something, like read the article, read who's saying it, and then like if you spend time looking at these things long enough, you start realizing that there are some beat reporters who just nail it. They have a high football IQ, high fantasy football IQ when they look at things, or they just have like elite sources. And so like you kind of get used to the ones that have those kind of inside sources. You also like want to make sure that like the ones that stick out to you that don't get things right, like make sure you spend so numbers. If you really are going to try and be like in fantasy and be like Tyler, go back to like find one of these sources, go back to 2020 around this time and read some of the reports during that time, and then see like whose comments were good and whose were not. And again, it's not the ability to predict the future or not, like that's going to happen, but it's go back and look and see like whose information was helpful for fantasy and whose wasn't.
Yeah, it's difficult, but I always say do your best.
Does Scotty Miller look a lot like Jason Segal? I don't know. I just like the fact that this question found its way into this chat somehow. Do you have any thoughts on Scotty Miller? I don't even know who Jason Segal is.
Yeah, I don't have a good idea of what he looks like. So
let's see.
Yeah.
Who is Jason Segal? Hang on. Oh, this is the Forgetting Sarah Marshall guy. And he was from How I Met Your Mother. Let's see. Does he look like Scotty Miller? I'm gonna go look up a picture of Scotty Miller. Kinda. I don't know. I think it kind of looks like it. Go look it up. Do an image search and see what you think. JB Cho. What's up, guys? What's up, JB? Thomas have some thanks. Certainly appreciate that. Yeah, we got to get a couple failure references in here.
They don't look anything alike at all.
I can see it.
Nah.
I see it.
Nah.
Scott says, have you ever been in a 32-team league?
No, I have not.
Me neither. I am now in a 20-team league, and I think that's the highest number I've ever been in.
I don't think I've ever been in anything that high, honestly. I think I did a 16-team league a long time ago once.
Thomas Tipple says Mac Jones by week 3.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, Addison, he's been watching since 2016.
I think that's a little far back, but
Cam Newton is a good goal line QB.
It's about right. It's the only thing he's still good at.
See, this is where the narrative is, I think, that keeps people
wrong,
in on him.
It's wrong.
They think it's COVID that got him.
Really? But how does that? What about 2018 at the end of the season and 2019? What about that?
What about 2016, as Addison says? I don't remember.
I mean,
I have to go look at it, but
I mean, I just don't. I mean, let's do.
Spoiler alert, Addison. Jacoby Myers may or may not be in a video tomorrow, so
all right.
Looking for that.
Let's do the Cam Newton game. 8 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. We like that, or we don't like that?
Well, how many were post-COVID?
I mean, how many of the touchdowns were?
No, I know it was bad. And here's the thing:
if you very bad.
2019 highlights of him throwing in Carolina, it was bad too. And then you watch 2018,
pre-COVID, he had 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, and he had passing totals of 155, 397, and 162. So it's really one game. We're putting all of our hopes on one game. And then after COVID, the whole thing was horrible. So we're putting all of our hopes on that one game. That's it. As a passer. I just don't I don't buy it. The COVID list made him unable to throw the ball. Why?
No.
That doesn't make sense to me.
It's a dumb narrative.
Yeah, I don't get that narrative at all.
I think this is in reference to me saying that New England was going to make the playoffs. There are 7 playoff spots now. It's not just 6.
I mean,
one extra team is getting in. And I'm just saying, like, look, Buffalo, yes. I think Buffalo is going to be one of the best teams in the NFL. Miami has a lot to prove. Miami is not who they were last year. They were 10-6, great. But, like, that was with Ryan Fitzpatrick. We got to see it with Tua. We can't just pencil. We can't put them in pin in the playoffs yet.
How does 177.1 passing yards per game sound?
Is that Tua?
That's Cam.
Oh, God. Yeah, Cam's
and
bad.
Before people say Cam Newton can't throw the ball, has always been bad as a thrower. That's not true. His lowest previous average was 206.4 yards per game. So almost 30 more. I mean, the dude can't play quarterback anymore. Like, just give it up. Come on.
Jamie Starfish. He has Lamar Jackson and Trevor Lawrence. Should he trade away a random 2022 first for Kirk Cousins?
Sure.
Yes.
Kirk Cousins is worth more than that.
Absolutely. Aaron, 1984, chimes back in. 12-team 2 QB league. Baker Mayfield and a 2023 first.
I hope he made this trade already.
Goff and Darnold.
Mayfield in the first.
Yes.
Easily.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather just have Mayfield than have those two. Forget the first.
TK sent a bad commit story.
He did,
video.
and I received that message.
Watch and comment. It will cheer you up. Thanks, guys. Thank you, TK.
Someone wants the beat reporter list. I wonder if that's something I can post or share. Copy link.
Can.
Okay. That seems like something I can do.
You can.
So I have just put the list in the. Oh, that was fast. Does it post from everyone when I do it?
What do you mean? Oh,
like I just posted it, but it came in 3 times.
Yeah, you're posting it to a bunch of different places.
Oh, well, that's fine. Whatever. So, anyway, that's the list of beat reporters.
Is Trey McKitty a lock for NFL all-time name? It's pretty good. It's pretty good,
but we're not talking about a lock for all time. Not for me.
I think Dick Butkus is up there.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of the other names that belong up there. Jake Butt probably is up there.
Oh my God, Jake Butt.
Sophomore.
Oh, someone just signed up for my Patreon during the show.
Sweet.
Welcome.
If you have another suggestion for an all-time NFL name, please put that in the comments, whether you're watching live or back. Yeah, I would love to hear about that because I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head.
There's something we need to talk about, by the way.
Okay.
We got so many Jacob Harris questions, and we haven't talked about him at all. We're already 2 hours in.
Yes.
We got so many. I got more Jacob Harris questions than anyone else, actually.
Okay. Let's talk about Jacob Harris in 10 minutes. Let's see how many of these questions we can get through.
But we can't forget to talk about him because I got at least five Jacob Harris questions in some form.
David, 12-team, Superflex, PPR. Starters are, here's the starters. Okay.
Mahomes,
Tannehill, year one.
Can this team compete?
Mahomes and Tannehill. That's a good start at quarterback.
Why not? Why can't this team compete?
Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris.
The wide receivers are weak, but for this year, you have a wide receiver 1, a wide receiver 2, a wide receiver 3, and a wide receiver 4.
Yeah, no, that's the team that can compete.
Yeah, running back, you have 2 running back 1s for me, and you have 2 quarterback 1s. So why not? Assuming you have something on the bench, yeah, totally. This team can compete. Why not?
Skid, Najee Harris or Pitts, Dynasty, single QB.
Unless there's a major tight end premium, just give me Najee Harris. I think you're looking at a workhorse.
99, again, great way to get your comment up here. Just compliment Tyler, and we're going to put it up.
If you compliment Cal, I'll click on it.
Jamie Starfish says, in a startup, isn't it a sneaky smart pairing to draft Brady and Watson?
Why? What's the logic behind that?
Yeah, I mean, Brady's going pretty late. I guess he's saying like draft Watson and then later.
I just, why those two though? Well, over other players, I'm not understanding those two specifically. I would say this is not how I think about it anyway. I draft for value. I'm not trying to pair quarterbacks like this. So I would say no. We have another super chat. We got to go to this. We got to go to that.
Yeah, put it up because I just lost my. Okay,
it's okay. We're never gonna. This is also why if you send your question in advance, there's no chance it'll get lost. We'll at least have it.
We'll get to it at some point.
But then you don't get to interact with people. So it's, that's why that's part about tuning in is you get to live interact with us. But there's pros and cons to sending in your questions live and in advance. But anyway, let's move on here.
So numbers asked.
Yeah, go ahead. Read it.
Okay. With rookie tight ends normally not producing their rookie year, what would make Pitts a bust in a couple of years, being taken as the tight end 5, 6, or lower? So I think the point he's making is like we can be patient with him. Like it's gonna be hard to declare him a bust after year one the way we would with like a Jalen Reagor or somebody like that, right?
How good do you think he has to finish to be satisfied? How good would he have to be for you to be satisfied? Because now where I rank him, that answer has changed.
How good would he have to be satisfied? Gosh, that's going to depend on where. There's a lot of people taking him in startups well before I'm comfortable taking him.
I'm one of those people, but I'm not the highest.
No, and I think that's probably setting yourself up for a little bit of disappointment.
But I rank redraft too. I rank him at tight end 5. So I would say anything less would be a disappointment where I ranked him in redraft. If it's less than tight end 5, I'm going to be disappointed.
If he gets 90 targets this year, would you be disappointed with that?
That's not good enough. 90 targets in 17 games is less than 6 targets a game. That's not good enough. If he gets 90 targets, I'm not going to be happy.
So 100 targets he needs to have?
I want more than 100.
Whew.
I want more than that.
That's a lot for a rookie tight end.
I understand that, but that's what I want. I want more. I mean, look. Here's TJ Hawkinson's 2020 season in 16 games. 67 catches on 101 targets for 723 yards and 6 touchdowns. And I'm not happy with that. I want more. That's not good enough. He needs to do better than that. Not much better, but better.
Yeah, I didn't mean to click off that. I'm sorry. But yeah, finish your point on Pitts.
Yeah. So what would be a bust? I mean, not producing that. And also, he's not going to lose his value, though. I think
that's what I'm saying. Is it like that's probably why he's a good dynasty investment, because going into next year, I mean, he's going to get so much hype. Like, it's not like Cole Kmet did that much and he's got a lot of hype this year. I think the bar for what he has to produce to not be downgraded in value that much is not that high.
Players that are like very highly regarded that are not running backs get a very long leash. Like Corey Davis had a very long leash as a high value dynasty asset.
Yeah.
When he should not have. We've learned a little, but still, we learned and then we corrected our mistake on N'Keal Harry.
But yeah, I think that's a good point. Numbers for sure. Zara chimes in. You guys are still going. Yes, we are. We are still going. We are 2 hours and 13 minutes into this show, and we are still going with no sign of slowing down yet. We got a lot of questions to get to. Oh, I was going to 99 as well. Oh, whatever. Thank you. Let's go to 99's question. Thank you for that compliment. Dynasty trade, I give up 2021, 110, 203, 308 for Dobbins and 2021, 408. Should I run to accept it? 1 QB league. Hope he's not watching.
I mean, a 1 QB, you're getting a bunch of maybe. So yes, accept it immediately.
I'd much rather have Dobbins here.
It's a bunch of maybe. I don't want maybe.
Agree with local liability. Nico is the best bet out of that list that we were talking about.
Not this year, though. How's he going to do it this year? Tyrod Taylor? I don't think so. Davis Mills? Nah. So, nah.
Yeah.
Love him long term, but you're betting on flashes for Nico in year 1, followed by production in year 2.
Zari, we did talk a little bit about Jared Dokes. I think I don't think either one of us expect for him to have a ton of value, but certainly there is a possibility. I'd be curious to see. I haven't seen a lot of, in terms of, we talked about beat reporters earlier. I haven't seen a ton of positive things about him yet.
Everything I've seen is all Gaskin.
Exactly.
It's all Gaskin, and that's, I think that, I don't know. I think that they're not happy with the backups that they have, Dokes included. They're certainly not happy with Ahmed. They don't seem to like him. Malcolm Brown, I think, is their current running back too, but is the 4th on the dynasty list because I don't think he has any fantasy upside at all.
He doesn't, but he is the kind of running back that, for whatever reason, earns coaches' trust.
Yeah, he does. There. Yeah, for some, he's doing something like that we don't appreciate, but the NFL teams like, and that's a hard thing to kind of nail down. But there's something Malcolm Brown does at some point of an NFL process that teams like. I don't know what that is, but it's something because it's now multiple teams are interested in him, despite the fact that his play on the field is uninspired at best.
Javian Hawkins could win a platoon role. He's an interesting guy out of Louisville. I kind of liked him.
I like him, and I would rather have him than Dokes.
Wasn't Trey Sermon a third?
We're talking about third, and we're talking about third in the NFL draft, but we were talking about third in a rookie draft. And Sermon in a 1 QB league, 1 QB I think would be a first rounder, and in a super flex, a solid second rounder.
Scott asked, who's the second running back in Cincinnati?
We don't care about the answer to this question.
It's Captain America.
But we don't care.
It's Chris Evans. It's Captain America.
And I agree. Well, actually, I don't agree. I think P. Ryan is the backup right now, but Evans would be the guy. It's similar to Miami. P. Ryan is the backup now, but Evans is the guy I would have second on my dynasty list. Puka Williams, I have no interest in at all. I'd rather have P. Ryan on my dynasty team just in case, because the Bengals are a very good offense. If Mixon went down again, I think that somebody on the team would produce low-end RB3 numbers. Somebody would do something. So, and I still think that would be P. Ryan temporarily. If it's not him, it's Evans. Puka Williams, no interest for me.
Expectations for Kyle Pitts this year. We talked about this already.
Talked about that. I rank him in redraft tight end 5 behind the 4 you would expect. I have him and Hawkinson for the year in the same tier behind Waller and Kittle in the tier above.
I want to know more about this story. He didn't know where.
I have no idea. I've never heard this story.
Yeah, this isn't something I know.
I mean, maybe Goff thought that the sun rose in the west or something. I don't know. That's something he could think. That he probably doesn't look up there very often.
Joe says I have Cole Kmet and Adam Troutman in a 1 QB tight end premium.
You may not. You may not trade Mark Andrews. You will not do that. That sounds like a terrible idea. In a tight end premium, I don't want to trade Mark Andrews and have 2 maybes. I don't want maybe. We know that Mark Andrews is good. This is a bunch of maybe. I mean, Adam Troutman, we have no idea. Cole Kmet, he earned the snap share but didn't produce the fantasy numbers. So, yeah, I'm not trading away my Mark Andrews on a tight end premium team. Yeah, no, the answer to this question is no, you may not.
This reminds me of a comment that Joe had up earlier. I was going to pull up, but we didn't get to it.
There was a whole conversation about this too. This conversation in the chat was like multiple lines.
She said the Saints got rid of Jared Cook, the Bears kept Jimmy Graham. Does that tell us anything about those players?
It tells us that
Troutman and
the
Kmet?
Saints have competent management and the Bears have incompetent management.
Gosh, I was hoping you would say that as a Saints
That's
fan.
exactly what it tells us.
Local liability traded away Cortland Sutton and a 2022 first and received Julio and a 2023 first.
Oh, no. Big mistake. No, not doing that. Yeah, no, I don't like
Kane agrees with you, I think.
Yeah, no. I would rather have Sutton over Julio in Dynasty. And yeah, the 2023 class is better, but give me the Sooner first. I don't want to wait.
Absolutely. I know I'm not pronouncing your name right.
I wouldn't even I wouldn't try.
I was offered Debo and
I think I can handle, but
for
the last
Chase
name
Claypool.
I can't do.
Okay, Debo and Michael Carter for Chase Claypool.
I hate Debo, so give me Claypool.
Yeah.
I don't want Debo. Debo to me is not. We talked about Trey Lance and how I think is going to monopolize a lot of the fantasy points with his legs. I think the passing volume is going to be low, and I think that Kittle is going to be the man, and Ayuk is going to be the second man. I don't want man number 3. So,
100%.
Yeah, no Debo from me. Give me Claypool. Look, you can't teach someone to be Claypool's size and athleticism, right? Like Deontay Johnson's never going to be that, no matter how much he can train for the rest of his life. He's not going to be that. So I like guys like Claypool who have those things that you can't teach. And yeah, that has wide receiver 1 upside, and I'll take that over maybe on the other side. I don't like maybe.
I think that's true. I just worry about Roethlisberger. That's my biggest.
I do worry a lot about Roethlisberger, but the Steelers beat reporters, we talked about them. There was a whole article about it where they said that Deontay and Claypool will not leave the field, and that Juju is the clear third receiver on the team, and they will not take Deontay or Claypool off the field in order to move Juju outside. That they'll all rotate in the slot in 3 wide receiver sets, but Deontay and Claypool are their clear top 2 receivers with Juju behind. And if anyone is still thinking differently, you got to rethink it. Deontay is the clear 1 for this year. Claypool's the athletic, big play guy, and he'll probably be number 2 in targets. Juju is irrelevant compared to those 2.
Well, let's talk about this in a 1 QB context here. J.K. Dobbins for 104 and 105.
Too expensive for Dobbins. Too expensive. I'm not paying that. That's essentially you're getting. Let's say Harris and Chase are gone. So yeah, you're probably in most leagues. Pitts is going 3. So you're telling me I can have ETN and Javonte Williams or Dobbins? Like, come on. We know who I want. I want ETN and Williams. That's way too much.
Yeah, that is too much.
Way too much. It's not even close. Yeah, it's way too much.
Yeah, Kmet. This is going back
exactly. I saw that comment earlier in the discussion, and they are not replacements. Neither Kmet nor Andrews Kmet nor Troutman is ever going to be what Andrews is, right? You don't think so, right? Do you think? I don't think they have. I think Andrews is their ceiling. I guess is their absolute ceiling. I don't think Kmet or Troutman is ever going to be like a top tier player. So I think Andrews is their ceiling. Give me Andrews. So weird. Andrews is great. Yeah, Andrews is a great player.
But he produces.
Yeah, but he's not the top tier.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah.
Teo's girlfriend chimes back in Dynasty. Ryan Tannehill, Robert Woods, T. Higgins, 2022 second, or Russell Wilson, Jalen Waddle, Juju, and a 2023 second. So Russ over Tannehill.
Yeah, even now.
I'm not going Waddle over Higgins, though.
I'd rather have Higgins.
And I would rather have Woods over Juju.
To me, Woods and Juju are similar.
Then, yeah, the 2022 or 20. That's close. That's pretty close.
It is very close. Because how much more is Russell Wilson worth than Ryan Tannehill? It's more, but is it how much more?
I think I want the Tannehill side.
Someone in the comments saying Woods a lot greater than Juju. If Woods were Juju's age, yes. But Woods is Woods has passed his dynasty time. He's April 92, so we've already turned 29. So Woods is a dying asset. But I think
you have to ride out his production. If you trade for him, you're gonna have to ride that out.
Taking the rest of his career, yeah.
But you've got Higgins.
Well, now another comment that I very much agree with. Juju is way overrated. Yes, very much overrated. Totally overrated. It's something I talked about recently. But I think I like Higgins a lot, and that makes me want to take the Tannehill side.
Adam is grateful for not having to go through the car boot camp yet. I didn't know there was such a thing.
He may go through that boot camp. And, I just want to say that this comment is just showing that dying means something different to me. Dying is aged out, as in cannot increase in value. Juju's a free agent going into next year. He signs a deal with the Chiefs, his value increases. So he's not a dying asset at only 24 years old. That's incorrect to suggest. But he is way over. I don't want him. But a dying asset is reserved for players who have passed my age threshold, who are past the age threshold where they can continue to gain dynasty value. For a wide receiver, usually on their 28th birthday is when they hit the point where they'll no longer gain dynasty value. So Woods is already a whole year past that.
Javonte, can he break into that top three? I don't know what would it take for him to break into that top three? And when I say top three, obviously Chase, Najee Harris,
he can't. Unless Trevor Lawrence was transported to a different dimension, he can't.
Could he surpass ETN?
But that's what I'm saying. Unless Trevor Lawrence were transported elsewhere. Maybe if he got Aaron Rodgers, I'd think about it. But even still, I'd probably hold off based on the draft capital. I'd say no.
We will put up super chats. We will put up compliments, and we will put up people using failure as a pun. How about Matt with failure?
Well, no, we have a lot of failure. I still think Anthony McFailure, the original Anthony McFailure, is the best one. Anthony McFailure and Benny Snail. Benny Snail is one of my favorites. Or Benny Fail. He could be Benny Snail. He could be Benny Fail. Kalen Mirage is another good one. He's never there.
Okay, so local liability. I understand where you're going with this, but I'm going to say I completely disagree with you.
Yeah, no.
Drew Lock's still on his rookie contract, so Broncos are going to try and make that work. They've got Bridgewater under contract either way.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether who's getting paid less is not going to dictate who's going to start.
Well, actually, the Panthers are paying most of Teddy Bridgewater's contract.
Sure.
So they actually not paying Teddy Bridgewater a lot of money. But, we have two failures. You're choosing between failure A and failure B. But failure B supported fantasy options. Failure Bridgewater supported fantasy options last year. I don't remember Locke supporting any fantasy options. You want to start Broncos last year? I don't think so. I don't remember wanting to start any Broncos last year.
No, I don't. Okay, and we got to talk about this anyway. So, Joe, this is a good.
Oh, an Elijah Moore question. Finally.
What if I trade Mark Andrews and a 2022 second?
She said it was tight end premium earlier. So keep in mind the tight end premium.
Yeah. But Andrews is not exactly going to be. You're not drafting Andrews because he's going to catch 100 passes.
Still tight end premium, though. And I don't know. Oh, man. I still want Andrews. Too much maybe in a tight end premium. In a regular league, give me the other side. I'd rather Chenault over Andrews alone. But in a tight end premium, with the second is enough to push me over to the other side. If the second were not there, I would take Moore and Chenault over Andrews straight up. But in a tight end premium, I still want Andrews in the second. And I think if you plug it into the trade calc, it'll agree. The second will be the difference maker, although I don't know for sure.
So let's use this as a jumping off point to talk about Elijah Moore here. Jamison Crowder takes his pay cut, which I did not expect.
Me neither. Yeah, I definitely did not have it priced that way.
I think it's ridiculous that he did that. I guess he sees it as an opportunity to make a splash.
Well, let's see how much his pay cut was. If his pay cut was to $6 million, then I think he did a good job. If it was to 3, then I don't think it was such a good move.
Yeah. Okay, so does that put a dent in what you think about Elijah Moore as a fantasy asset?
Yes, it does. It puts a dent because we know how this works, right? We know how it works. We know that no matter how much we like a prospect, if they don't produce fantasy numbers that we want in year one, we're going to be down on them. And we're going to need to walk back, like Ed says, walk back the excitement a little bit. We're going to need to do that because the value ridiculous spike is just not coming like I thought it could have before. So yes, did it move him down? Yes. Because I had been moving him up over the last few days when I was hearing the steady drum beat. Elijah Moore is making Jamison Crowder irrelevant. Elijah Moore is going to make Jamison Crowder get cut. Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I moved him down, but not much. I still really like him. I still think those beat reports that said he was excelling at camp didn't go away. It didn't.
Exactly.
It's not like that didn't happen, right? It's not like he wasn't.
Down because like all we're hearing is how Denzel Mims isn't doing anything.
Oh, failure.
Sixth on the depth
chart. Sixth. Braxton Berrios getting reps over Denzel Mims. And let's talk about that. We say Denzel Mims is sick. Really? He's been sick for 2 months? Sick for 2 months? What has he been doing?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't
want to hear about sick for 2 months. He can't do anything. Nothing on the field. So I don't want to hear about anything about Denzel Mims. We have a failure there. I don't want that. So I think that Elijah Moore is pushing Denzel Mims out of the starting lineup at this point. Maybe he'll play the Z position. I mean, Davis is the X, and as obviously Moore is not an X, big receiver. We know that he doesn't really play that role. Davis is more of a complimentary guy. He's not massive, but they signed him to be the one. They signed him as their alpha. So if Davis is an X and then Moore maybe uses his speed in more of the Z role, and then we have Crowder in the slot, and Mims is just done, irrelevant, gone. That's what I think we're going toward. Because it's
can't trade him now. Don't trade him now.
Oh, I disagree. I think that
nobody's giving you value for him.
No, this is one of those sell low times for me. I think
you're not going to get anything.
Third is good. I just get rid of him.
Nobody's giving you.
I'm good. I'm good. I think
nobody's giving you a third.
I think in 2 months, Denzel Mims will have 0 dynasty value.
Yeah, he's pretty close now.
I just don't want that. I don't want 0 dynasty value. I don't want that. So I'd rather get something. This is a sell low moment for me where I'm fine just getting out. There are still believers. There are still people who despite everything, all the evidence, Elijah Moore excelling at camp. Then, we can't let Jamison Crowder go. Why can't we let him go? What might we need another receiver in the starting lineup? Probably not to replace the guy who's doing great at camp in his rookie year and is forming an amazing connection with the new rookie quarterback he just picked 2nd overall. It's probably not to replace that guy. It's probably to replace failure. And as someone said, Jets still have Corey Davis. Exactly. The Corey Davis is not coming off the field for Denzel Mims. That is not happening. So Denzel Mims' path to playing time is limited. And now I see it as non-existent. So get Denzel Mims off my dynasty team. And I'm still in on Elijah Moore.
Is Laviska Shenault the best wide receiver to own in Jacksonville?
Yes.
I agree.
Speaking of camp hype.
I agree.
Everything is talking about how he's, catching everything, how he's excelling at Jaguars camp, how he's really making a name for himself, making a good impression on the new coaching staff. So, people are talking about how he's not going to get some role. I don't know what they're talking about. I think that Laviska Shenault is just going to be a wide receiver. I don't want him to be a gadget role. We want to play gadget guys for fantasy? No. I want him to be a wide receiver. If he's gonna be good in fantasy, I want him to play wide receiver. I want him to run wide receiver routes. That's what I want him to do. And that's what I think he is going to do with Trevor Lawrence. And I want that guy on my team.
Good question from Alex. Got rejected offering Tyreek Hill and Mike Gesicki for Kyle Pitts and Robert Woods. Start 2 tight ends, so no premium points, but that is premium when you're saying start 2 tight ends.
Start 2 tight ends. Okay. Let's just get this out of the way.
Yeah. What should I counter for Rager or Fuller, or is this an overpay?
You can't. You're not going to just stop trying to trade for Kyle Pitts in a 2 tight end league. You're wasting your time.
I don't think anybody's ever trading you Kyle Pitts.
So, you're start 2 tight ends. You're not going to be trading for Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is worth more than Tyreek and Gesicki combined in a start 2 tight end.
You're gonna have to offer Mahomes or something. You're gonna have to offer like Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, start 5 wide. What kind of league is this? Start 2 tight ends, start 5 wide receivers, but you can find 5 wide receivers. Can't
That's
find
too many people to start. Don't do this.
Yeah,
This
no,
is
I don't
not a
mind
good
the
league
league format. I think it's interesting, but it's still easier to find a wide receiver 5 than it is to find a second usable tight end. So this offer is, I mean, you wanted to get Woods with it. Well, I guess Gesicki's worth more than Woods in this format, but you're not trading for Kyle Pitts in a 2 tight end league. You don't even bother. You're going to have to so extremely overpay. It's going to gut your team. It's not worth it.
Jamie Starfish traded Jerry Jeudy for the 110 and drafted Travis Etienne. What do you think?
I love it. 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 I like Jeudy, but first round running back. What wins you fantasy titles? Young first round running backs on rookie deals, not maybe wide receivers with bad quarterbacks. I love Jerry Jeudy. I think he's very talented, but come on, Travis Etienne is worth significantly more.
Local liability chime back in. Troutman best blocking tight end as rookie. That worries me. If I'm like in fantasy, like yes, he's gonna see the field, but like if he's that good at blocking, he's gonna do a lot of that. And
I'm not worried about that.
It worries me.
I'm not worried about someone being good at something and that being a problem. I'm not worried about that because
Mercedes Lewis was like that. Mercedes Lewis was so good at blocking that they kept him in the block.
Lewis was not a special receiver. He was good. He was good, but we're not talking about special talent. So like,
well, Troutman's not a special.
I don't think that it was. I don't think the problem was that Mercedes Lewis's blocking talent was so good that prevented him from catching the ball. That isn't what I'm thinking here. I like that Troutman was a good blocking tight end because that'll get him on the field. If you're on the field, you never know. The play could change. It could become a passing play. If you get on the field, you must. Do you produce any fantasy points from the bench? You produce fantasy points while you're sitting over there? I don't think so. I don't remember.
I don't get points per block either, but
you don't produce any fantasy points.
Pancake.
Right, but there are routes where you're blocking and then you release, check and release.
Sure.
You don't produce any fantasy points if you're sitting on the bench. So I want players that are going to get on the field. And that's, I'm not going to see blocking as a negative. Someone who's good at blocking is not going to decrease them in my ranking. That's a little, I think that's being a little too cute.
I love this username.
I think chat that we're gonna answer.
Go ahead,
super chat. Tebow is catching everything here. No. We're not picking up Tim Tebow. No, Tim Tebow. We don't want that. If you want someone interesting, go pick up Luke Farrell. Luke Farrell, 5th round pick on the Jaguars. They don't have anything at tight end. Nothing at tight end. So that could be a good ad. No, we don't want any Tim Tebow. We don't want a lot of failure, years of failure from Tim Tebow. I don't want more failure. So
catching everything, Tyler.
I don't care.
Everything.
He's not. He's not catching everything. This is ridiculous.
He's the goal line back.
No. Enough of this. Tim Tebow's not going to make this roster. Like enough of that. I do think that there's a chance that the Jaguars trade for Zach Ertz, though. They have nothing at tight end. They have nothing at tight end. I
don't think he's going to make the roster.
Tim Tebow? Not if they trade for Zach Ertz.
No.
That would push him off the roster. I just think that they're going to sign a real tight end at some point.
Yeah, I love it. Love that comment numbers. I think this name says Cat Zero, which I think is a great.
I did say that you should.
Should I be trying to move off of DeAndre Swift? If so, what running back?
Yeah, I did say that you should. I made a whole tweet thread about this, and people kind of didn't like it. They didn't like it. They didn't like my tweet thread about DeAndre Swift. It wasn't much of a thread, really. It was just saying, sell DeAndre Swift or whatever. It was a while ago. But yes, I would say do it.
Okay. I'm looking here. This cannot be right on where his
Let me see if I can find my DeAndre.
RB8? That's way too high.
RB8? Let's see where I have him. I have him RB8.
Oh, that's too high.
I know.
I don't love the situation. I love the player. I absolutely love the player.
That sell thread was when he was still a first-round pick. I like him more at RB8 in the early second in 1 QB than I liked his previous price.
Oh gosh, Swift. So you like Swift more than quite a few people then. You like him more than Najee?
No, I have Najee ahead.
You like him more than Akers?
No, I have Akers at RB4.
Kamara then.
No, I think it's probably Gibson.
Okay, yeah, Gibson's here below. So
Wait,
McCaffrey, Taylor, Barkley, Cook, Kamara, Akers, Chubb, Swift.
Oh, okay, yeah. I have Najee ahead and Chubb behind.
Oh, Chubb behind. Okay. Mr. 2K. He's going for 2,000 yards.
Chubb, why though? Why Chubb? I don't get it. Chubb is similar age to Zeke, and you know why? That's something I don't understand. I must just be missing something. Why Chubb is 11th overall in 1 QB and Zeke is 20. The difference to them to me is minimal. Minimal, if any. I mean, Zeke has more of a locked-in future. Zeke has 2 years of a contract they can't get out of and a better quarterback. Chubb is splitting work with Hunt, and he's going into a walk year. And you know what happens when running backs go into walk years. Weird things happen, like Bell, Gordon. You know, Chubb was a second-round pick. He hasn't gotten paid yet. It could be a problem. So I'm just saying, I have Chubb over Zeke, but to see Chubb, at 11th overall and Zeke at 20, I think that Chubb should be around where Zeke is.
So then I don't think you're getting anything. I don't think you're getting anybody ahead of Swift in your rankings then for Swift right now. I don't think his trade value would allow for that.
I mean, if I could get Najee for Swift, I would do it. And Najee's behind.
I don't think you're getting that for Swift right now.
So what I would probably do is Jamar Chase is at 30th overall and 1 QB ADP, and I have him at 17. That's probably what I'm doing. I'm probably trying to get Chase plus. So I'm probably not targeting a running back because I'm not going to get the running backs in the range. I'd probably rather trade down. And yes, this is also why I think there's a problem. Hunt is already paid, which is an issue. An issue if they're going to give Chubb an additional $13 million. I don't know if they're going to do that. So I think there could be an issue there. So yeah, I just don't understand Chubb being so high. I don't get it.
99 chimes in.
We answered this one already about Dobbins. Dobbins, yes, run to accept. Hope he's not watching.
We sure did.
Yeah, we did.
Very good. Oh God. Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I owe them another answer because they already have Chase. Okay. Great minds think alike. In that case, you think you can trade Swift for CEH plus? Maybe I'd try that. Swift for CEH. I don't know. I mean,
I would rather have CEH.
The ADP says you can.
Swift I would do it straight up.
Swift 14, Edwards-Helaire 825. But I think I have this suspicion because what I see on Twitter and what I hear from everyone is not the same as I see in DLF's data. I have a feeling that the people doing DLF drafts are very biased against CEH because his value there just doesn't line up ever and has not for the last 6 months with what I hear from the Twitter community and like what I hear just from anyone I talk to. So it just seems like there's bias against CEH. So while the ADP says you should be able to get CEH in a second for Swift, I don't know if you can. With that said, I would still try it.
Roberto says, "Who's the best quarterback in the NFL, and why is the answer Taysom Hill?"
You're not gonna get many questions read with that. That's a pro. Yeah, but that's a pro Cal question. So Mr. Angry Pants over here is probably not gonna allow it. No, this is ridiculous.
No, me and Roberto go back and forth a lot about this. This is kind of an inside joke with us. Hey, look. I just hope that your favorite quarterback, Roberto, Justin Fields, grows up to be anything like Taysom Hill.
I mean, Taysom Hill, we have a lot of failure. In his career. I don't like failure.
Gosh, a lot of great questions. Really appreciate everybody that's in here in the chat. This is a link to Tyler's Patreon. If you want to support Tyler, you can absolutely do it that way.
2 people have already signed up during the show, and I will get to them after the show is over. But we will go for as long as the show needs. But I thank the people who have signed up, and I will look forward to talking to you.
AJ says Tyler is dedicated to his patrons. Definitely worth it. So
and you know what? Right there. They're dedicated to me as well. not just, I like that all of them, treat me as a person. Like at the end of the day, I'm a human being. Like I try to give as much fantasy advice as possible, but I'm not a robot. Like there's sometimes things come up and all of that. And, I just appreciate that all of them are very nice to me and just, they're a lot of what keeps me going. So I just appreciate all of them.
This is a really good point from Adam. There are a lot of beat reporters who say good things about the team, players who get access to the team.
That's funny. I never really thought about it that way, even though I've said it that way. I've said, like, oh, yeah, we don't like to hear anything bad. But actually, I've never really quite phrased it this way. This is a good way to phrase it, actually. I never quite put it in this terms. What do you think? I think this is actually very insightful. Don't you? I think this is a good comment.
This is why I'm saying you have to be able to think critically. Like you can't just take like, oh, this person said this, so therefore, like you've got to be able to think critically. You got it. Like sometimes it's as simple as clicking on the article and reading it. Like sometimes it can be that simple just to look at what's actually said.
Here's a couple of things. The first test is if you hear it on multiple different days or from multiple different people, that is a sign that you should start to take it seriously. I wrote a post about Elijah Moore saying that it was on multiple different days from multiple different reporters, multiple different sources. That's why I take it seriously. It's not just one person beating the drum. It's a lot of people. So that's the big thing you can tell between nonsense and reality is just different sources, different times, and different people. Second thing is very specific things are more trustworthy. The Steelers. There were very specific numbers that Deontay would probably have like this many more targets than Juju, and then Claypool would be somewhere in between. And then there was these players, okay, in 2 wide receiver sets, Deontay and Claypool are the starters. And then in the 3 wide receiver sets, Deontay and Claypool and Juju would be the trio, and they would all rotate throughout the slot to give Juju an opportunity to play outside, and Deontay and Claypool also chances to rotate into the slot. That's very specific, right? Like the beat reporter probably didn't just make that up. That would be a little weird if they just kind of made it up. That's very specific. Someone probably told them that, right? Whereas like just player X looks good. Okay. I gotta have that confirmed by others. I can't just have one person say, oh, yeah, this player looked good today. That's not enough. I want to hear other people say, and him look good on different days, more than that. But when it's very specific, like, again, the Steelers with Najee Harris being like, he's going to get every carry. He's going to get all the work he can handle. We want him to get 300 touches. I like that. But when it's vague, Mac Jones looked good in his practice reps. Okay, that's nice, but I want a little more than that.
Scott chimes in. I can't believe that made it in. This is in reference to his question about the guy from How I Met Your Mother looking like Scotty Miller. And listen, Scott, like nonsense is always going to be fun to me. So let's talk about nonsense. Is totally fine with it.
Cal knows I don't love it. So,
yeah.
So he's definitely going to put it up then.
Speaking of which, Tyler looks like Russell Brand. Have you ever gotten that before?
Yes, but I don't want to talk about where.
Okay, PJ says barely a resemblance. I don't know if that's the Scotty Miller.
It's not. It's Scotty Miller. He's agreeing with me on Miller and Jason Segal, I think. I agree. I didn't see any resemblance.
Tommy says, guys, I always use a Dynasty trade calculator. That could be the Dynasty trade calculator. It could be the trade calculator that is on DynastyLeagueFootball.com.
Yeah, the trade analyzer. I used it today, but not to offer a trade.
Your thoughts if it's a good thing to do for your advantage?
I mean, yes, but you don't have to. I would say that it's good to like check in with the trade analyzer for market value.
Yeah.
But I'm not, saying that you must always use it.
Don't use it as like it. Don't send anybody a screenshot of a trade analyzer to say,
oh, yeah, no, don't do that. That is a trading faux pas.
Don't do that.
No, yeah, do not do that.
But yes, use it. Like especially if you have access to it, and like there's so many of them that are cheap, and you can get access to the one in Dynasty Football with a $10 thing to Monkey Knife Fight. Yes.
Also, don't forget, you can just buy a subscription. It's what, $39.95 a year.
Yeah, you can also do that.
That's
you can get it for $10.
Think about how little that costs, right? I mean, that's like $3, between $3 and $4 a month. I mean, 1 or 2 Starbucks cups of coffee, like for all of the articles. It's not like, it's not just the trade analyzer. It's everything. I still think that that's a very good value, and something that I bought well before I wrote there. I've only been a part of the DLF team at this point for a bit over 4 months, but I was a customer there starting in 2018. Without them, I'm not here. I don't get into Dynasty. I'm not here. So, clearly it worked for me.
TK asked who's the QB in New Orleans. We'll answer this quick. I won't get into too much.
Winston. We argue about this all the time.
The answer is Taysom Hill. Tyler doesn't agree.
No, Tyler doesn't agree.
Between Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill, which severely diminishes the value of Jameis Winston anyway. So the one that you want to own is still Taysom Hill.
It's definitely Jameis Winston.
There's a lot of these. There's a lot of questions. There's so many comments.
We gotta put up some question about Jacob Harris, because we had so many questions about him this week.
This is true. Okay, I'm gonna go find a Jacob Harris. Would you like to fill in on why there was so
beat reporters? Beat reporters is why.
Beat reporters. So there's a lot of beat reporters talking about him.
It's been like Elijah Moore, except at obviously a lower level, because we're talking a 4th round tight end. I wrote a post. It was very simple. I've noticed how Twitter works. The less text you write, the better. That my least insightful. Literally, this was my post. If Jacob Harris is currently on your Dynasty waiver wire, he should not be. Whenever I write insightful stuff, no one pays attention to it. But this one, 64 likes for nothing. Didn't even promote it. So apparently that was worthy of a relatively viral tweet for me. So yeah, that's what I said. And someone asked in that, why are we talking about this? So, 4th round pick this year, 4th round pick, decent draft capital. They picked Bryson Hopkins in the 4th round last year. Clearly he didn't even get on the field. Clearly that's a failure. You don't spend another 4th round pick on a tight end when you have a starter in Tyler Higbee if you liked your previous 4th round pick who never got on the field. So Bryson Hopkins you can remove from your Dynasty roster. Jacob Harris now is the man of the hour. He was getting first-team reps at Rams camp. How often does a 4th round rookie tight end get any first-team reps? He's lucky if he even gets opportunity with the second team. So, the upside's there. Matthew Stafford, we saw what he did last year with TJ Hawkinson. Looked pretty good, right? I mean, he's thrown to tight ends before. He never had a tight end of TJ Hawkinson's caliber, really, beforehand. But, he did things. I mean, there was Brandon Pettigrew at a time, and there were some other players, And I think he could work with Harris.
Is this I guess best case scenario in this is what? Darren Waller? Is that what we're kind of best case scenario possible?
Yes, that's the best case scenario. Yeah.
I think this is a good taxi squad move where it's the kind of player you want to stash. I don't expect them to have value this year.
No, expecting any rookie tight end other than Kyle Pitts to do that is
especially one making a move from wide receiver to tight end.
Yeah, I'm not expecting something this year, but just for the upside, like he's moved himself into a conversation for me with like Hunter Long.
Sure.
Like he's moved into that conversation.
Brevin Jordan?
Ahead of Brevin Jordan. He has more draft capital and doesn't have a horrible quarterback situation right now.
Interesting. Okay.
Ahead of Dawson Knox, 2 years of failure. I don't want failure. So, I'd rather take what I haven't seen.
Not ahead of Freiermuth, though.
No, Freiermuth's way ahead. 2nd round draft capital is way ahead for me.
Then let's see. There's not really any other tight ends. That puts us
in a conversation.
Tight end 3?
No, I still have Long one spot ahead.
Okay.
But they're right in the same conversation. He's in a conversation with like Harrison Bryant from last year. We saw something on the field from Harrison Bryant, whereas Harris is a maybe. But, I think there's more upside. So, but I'd still take Bryant just for what we saw. I actually thought he was very good on the field last year. Like, I'd rather have Harris over like Knox. And Knox, I think I saw enough failure. I don't want more failure. And then, I'd rather have Harris than other guys in this class like Tremble, McKitty. And also, I'd rather have him over some of the older guys, Ebron, Cook, Hurst. I'd rather just take the maybe in Harris. And I'd also rather have him over Njoku, who we talked about earlier.
I agree with P2 Thar here, or is that, I don't know how to say your name right. I guess I'm just going to say P2 Thar. Willie Ponder is a great name. I do think that's a great name. So if you have a great name, please leave that in the comments. I wonder if we did like an NFL versus NHL versus MLB, who would have the best.
Yeah. I also
name.
got some questions in that thread from people who were like listening. One asked, would I take Harris or Ferkser? I think I'd still take Ferkser just because I think he has a better chance of producing this year.
Yes. Me too. Ferkser seems like he kind of might be. Do you think Ferkser might be? Remember last year we were really excited about the Colts tight end, Trey Burton, all of a sudden producing. Are you a little worried he might be kind of a why were we sold on him again?
I'm not really sold on him. I have him as like tight end 25.
Yeah.
So I just prefer, I think the targets are going to be there. I think you tell me that Jacob Harris has like 10 snaps all year, it's very possible. Whereas we know Ferkser's at least going to get a chance. And with a chance, you never know what could happen. A chance could be all he needs.
He Hate Me is the best name. That's true.
A good name.
That is the best name. No
doubt.
It
is a good name, 100%.
Yeah. Chad Ochocinco, I guess if we're going with like change names, I guess we have to put that one in there too. But Jarvis Green Ellis.
Sounds like a law firm.
A law firm. Absolutely. Yep. Okay. Yep. This is in relations to Kyle Pitts. He needs 120 targets. That's so many targets for a rookie tight end.
He could get it.
Man, that is.
He could get it, man. Ugh. You don't think he could? I mean, who else are they going to throw to?
It's so many. It's so many.
Look, imagine if Kyle Pitts is just like the tight end one this year. What would that do? What would he be? A top 5 dynasty pick? I mean, he would be, right?
Here's what it would do. It would overvalue any tight end coming into the league from now on forever.
No, it wouldn't.
People would be like, oh, it's the next Kyle Pitts. So
I don't think it would.
Who's the next James Robinson and all of this? Like, it would just ruin.
I don't think it would. Because I think that people have already accepted this year that Kyle Pitts is special and unique. And I think that if he hits, people will even more accept that he was special and unique and not chase again.
E. Wessel, what week is Trey Lance going to start, and could he have a better season than Justin Herbert?
Man, I hope they cut Jimmy G. That takes a lot of the pressure off because I really think they're the ones who want to do the Alex Smith plan, not the Bears. The Bears, I don't know what they're doing, but I think that they actually want to do the Alex Smith plan, and I just want Jimmy G to go away so Trey Lance can shine. Could he have a better season than Justin Herbert? No, I don't think so. I mean, you're asking for a lot, right? I mean, you're asking for better than the best rookie season ever. So, Is it possible? Sure, if he started week 1. I just don't think that's going to happen.
I love that whatever, like, so there's such a conversation going on in the chat room. Please keep this up. I love this.
Yeah, I know.
It ended up in Kane talking about Sean Alexander and LaDainian Tomlinson's propensity for TD upside. This is amazing. Keep it going.
That's actually an interesting question. I think 2 of those players actually have DD upside, and one of them has Rodgers upside. I don't think there's anything about Devontae Adams specifically that causes him to score a lot of touchdowns. I think it's the Rodgers-Adams combination that causes him to score a lot of touchdowns. I think that one's quarterback dependent. And yeah, if you ignored LaDainian Tomlinson's propensity for scoring touchdowns, that was a choice you made. That was a big mistake.
So I think this is in reference to whether or not touchdowns
Touchdowns
can
are
be
predictable.
predictive. Yeah.
And I would say that for running backs, they are more so than receivers.
Yeah. I mean, LaDainian Tomlinson was going one. He was the 1-1 for like, what, 4 or 5 years. I mean,
Yeah, but for running backs, touchdowns are more predictable. It's based on the number of touches they get and the strength of the offense. Whereas for receivers, it's more hit or miss. I would say that some receivers score more touchdowns than others, but I tend to rely on the guys who I know are going to get the targets, because if they get the touchdown regression, then they're like top 5. Whereas the other way around, but I don't think of Devontae Adams as a touchdown specialist. He gets the volume too.
Do we like Larry Roundtree?
Put it this way. If Devontae Adams played with Jordan Love, what would go away? His volume or his touchdowns?
Both.
Really? I think his volume would be similar, because I think Jordan Love would try to force feed him even more, even if they pass less. When you're a rookie quarterback, you go to your best player. You don't go to secondary players. You go to your best player. Why do you look at Justin Herbert's relationship with Keenan Allen? His great season, he leaned on the great players. Well, how did Mike Williams do? He leaned on Allen. He leaned on Eckler.
As a percentage, sure. I can see that. But
that's what I'm saying. Rookie quarterback, your choices are Devontae Adams or Alan Lazard.
Amari Rodgers.
Choices, decisions.
No,
who do I want to throw to? I think I'm going to throw to Devontae Adams if I'm a rookie.
I don't think anybody gets 150 targets, and he had 149 last year. I just don't think
there's no one else there who's going to compete with him for those targets. Who's going to earn additional targets on that offense? So it's a lot of nothing. I think the volume will be there, but the touchdowns with Love would not be there.
Do we like Larry Roundtree at all?
I don't dislike him, because Joshua Kelly was an abject failure, total failure. Justin Jackson, 3 years of failure. So I don't want any failure. So I'll take not failure in Larry Roundtree, and we'll see what he does. Give him a chance. Someone's going to earn carries across from Eckler. I hear people saying, Larry Roundtree sucks at football. You know that? You know that Larry Roundtree sucks at football? I don't remember seeing him play in the NFL. Could be good. Who knows? Give him a chance. We know that Joshua Kelly sucks. We saw him fumble last year. Justin Jackson, we have 3 years of nothing. I don't want nothing. So, let's give the new guy a chance. I'd rather have, again, and you're going to notice this as a common theme. I'd rather have what I haven't seen over known failure.
Okay. Mike Evans or Marquise Goodwin? Chris Godwin.
Okay, I actually covered this yesterday on the episode of Dynasty Duo I recorded with CJ. It's going to drop tomorrow. We very much disagreed. I think that it's easily Godwin. I'm very out on Evans this year. I ranked Evans for 2021 at wide receiver 22. That sounds low, right? That sounds low to you, right? Wide receiver 22 for Evans. That sounds low, you think?
No, I mean, only because wide receiver I think is so stacked right now. And I just don't. I think that Tampa Bay is going to have a good passing offense in the NFL. I don't know that I want any of those high-end options to start every week, because I don't know that they're going to have the consistency I'm going to want in my lineup.
And that's right. So last year, remember, Godwin injuries, Brown only played 8 games. Howard also had a torn Achilles, and it took a while for Gronkowski to get into anything. Last year, Mike Evans, 16 games, 109 targets. 109. How does that sound?
It sounds like good enough for about the 30th most in the NFL.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
How about 70 receptions in 16 games? That sound like a wide receiver 1? I don't think so.
It's not.
No. How about 1,006 yards?
It's
no.
Good for him.
Right. And then 13 touchdowns. That one. I like that one. You think he's going to duplicate 13 touchdowns again?
I'm not going to bet on it, but yeah, I mean, he could.
So
he's on the short list of who who could have that number. Like if we're gonna guess,
But he has to do that to pay off
good
where
odds.
CJ had him at wide receiver 14.
Ooh, yeah.
He's in Dynasty at wide receiver 14.
Yeah,
he turns 28 in August. Contested catch receivers like Evans don't tend to age well. I just must be missing something on Evans. I'm not missing anything on Evans. I think I have this one right on the money. Honestly, I'm pretty confident in this take. And people ask who I have above Evans for this year. And I have, just to read a few, I have Robert Woods at 17, DJ Moore at 18, Julio Jones at 19, Jamar Chase at 20, and Cooper Kupp at 21.
Interesting. Going back to our Steelers talk, Claypool is the third guy in Pittsburgh.
No.
I think it's Juju.
Juju's the third guy. The beat reporter made it crystal clear. There was no ambiguity. None. Zero. That's very true. There was the Juju's overrated, but there was no ambiguity at all. It was very clear. It was also, there was a lot of, like I said, a lot of detail. It was, these players are going to play at this time. They're going to rotate into these positions. We're going to give more targets to Deontay Johnson, followed by Chase Claypool a little bit behind, and then Juju not even in the conversation. It was very clear. And, I would suggest people go find that. I commented on it a few days back, but it's very clear that the target pecking order is Deontay number 1, Claypool number 2, Juju number 3. And since Juju, I think, is the least good of those 3 players, I don't have them anywhere near in fantasy. I have Deontay and Claypool close because I like Claypool's upside and athleticism. So with a few less targets, I think I'd still rather Deontay, but it's close for this year. But Juju is where do you think I have Juju ranked for 2021?
28.
37.
Whew, that's low.
And I think he deserves it. For this year alone, give me Devonta Smith. Give me Devonta Smith. Give me the 1. Give me the 1 in Philly over the 3 for an aging Ben Roethlisberger. Give me that. That's what I want.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Matthew Lemire, thoughts on Des Fitzpatrick? Do we care about Des?
Not after Julio was traded there, unfortunately. Just a stash.
Malcolm Brown has thumping locker room dances like Jamal Williams. Love that.
He must. Yeah, he must have something. Jamal Williams is another one of those players.
I absolutely
Jamal Williams is another one of those players also who he must deliver, and I can kind of see it with Jamal Williams. He's not bad on the field, but he must deliver something more than that. Why did they give him? They gave him like a decent sized contract. He must deliver something like to the team. I think it's something you're not even seeing on the field. There's something about him. I think the teams enjoy having him around. That could be valuable. If it boosts the morale of the team, if he's really that great of a guy in that respect, it might be worth it. I don't know.
We are now less than an hour away from this thing shutting off on us.
I know.
So get your questions in, and we're going to get through some of these questions. I can't help but put some nonsense up here, though. Joe, why do I sometimes find cereal in the fridge after coming home from work? Failure. Good example of failure.
Why did the cereal? I don't know.
Somebody had the milk out and they put the cereal box back in the refrigerator or something, Joe. That's
the decision. Yeah.
That's great. Who gets signed to a big extension in 2021? Lamar, Josh Allen, or Mayfield? Why not all 3?
Yeah, I think they all get extensions.
All 3.
Yeah, all 3.
All 3.
Yeah.
Do you like Elijah Moore? Okay.
We answered it. I mean, we didn't answer this exact one, but I basically answered it in saying that, yes, I actually like Elijah Moore. It wasn't just the situation.
I agree with Kane. I still like Elijah Moore. I don't think they're going to be able to keep him off the field. I think if he's as good as we think he is, he's not going to be deterred by Corey Davis and Denzel Mims, and he's going to get playing time. He's going to get snaps.
It's more just that I wanted him to play more in the slot, and I think now his slot snaps are going to be reduced. I think he can play outside, but I wanted him to play in the slot.
I think that's probably true. I do not agree with this, Ed. Corey Davis.
No, he's talking about wide receiver 1 on the Jets, which I agree with.
Okay. I actually think we could see a motivated version of Jamison Crowder that could be kind of underrated right now.
I'm good. I'm good on Jamison Crowder.
He's gonna want a payday. He's gonna be.
He's not getting a
everything
payday.
he can.
He got a payday already. How much was his Jets contract?
12 team Superflex. Dak, Javante, or Marshall? Who's Marshall?
Terrace Marshall.
Oh, okay. Terrace Marshall for Ryan Tannehill, DeAndre Swift, or DJ Chark.
This is a laughable question. It's the Dak side. Dak is almost worth the entire other side. I mean, maybe that's an exaggeration, but in a super flex, I mean, Dak is a first-round pick. I mean, Dak is worth as much as Tannehill and Swift combined.
Certainly the difference between Swift, Javante, or Chark Marshall.
Maybe not Tannehill and Swift, but
Dak over Tannehill for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Dak is worth a lot more than Tannehill and Chark.
Yeah. Yep, Dak side. Kittle and Hawk are great blockers. This is true, but both are significantly better pass catchers.
I just think that blocking barely matters. It barely matters.
Let's see. Team will boost the morale of your dynasty bench.
I'm sure he will.
Underestimate that.
If that makes you happy, put him on the bench if that's what you want to do.
MJ, awesome show, fellas. Thank you, MJ. We are absolutely pumped to be doing this every single week.
The show would be nothing without the people watching it. If you didn't come and watch, believe me, the energy on this show wouldn't be here. Like, you know, we need you guys.
Yeah, you think we're going 3 hours? If the energy is not here,
no, of course
keep
not.
it going. MJ, I just took Patterson. So good. Speaking of beat reporters, really good news coming from him.
Very much so, yes.
Jared Patterson, 212 in a 14 team Superflex Dynasty League. Did I pull the trigger too quickly? Would you have taken Hawkins or Stevenson over him?
Oh, easily. Yeah, easily Stevenson over him. Stevenson has 4th round draft capital. Patterson is a maybe UDFA behind Gibson. So we're talking about someone trying to earn a backup role. Maybe over, Stevenson, who has a path. I'm not saying he's going to overtake Harris this year, but Stevenson has a path to being a starter eventually. So yeah, I'd easily take Stevenson, and I'd much prefer. I'd also prefer Hawkins. I think he has more of a path. I mean, Gibson is just such an obstacle, whereas Mike Davis is not an obstacle.
Matthew, good price check for Watson. We did talk about this a little bit, so you can definitely see that.
I'm not buying Watson really, unless I'm trying to lose.
And last week we talked about it. A couple of second rounders, I think, is where we landed. Is kind of what we'd be willing to pay.
Give him first. I mean, I'd give one first. I'm just not buying Watson unless I'm trying to lose. But if I'm trying to lose, I'm not giving up first. So it's a weird situation. I said, my best idea was to get rid of an older quarterback.
TK, as the furthest I've gotten in terms of my strategy for Scott Fish is I wanted the 11th pick, and I got the 11th pick. So
yeah, I got the 3 pick, and I don't understand why I did that. I don't really play a lot of redraft, actually any redraft anymore. So yeah.
BV, just watch another analyst recommend stacking wide receivers and quarterbacks. This is something I usually ignore. Is stacking something you consider in Dynasty?
Absolutely not. Not at all. You want to accumulate dynasty value. I'm not worrying about stacking. Did players change what team they're on it? No. I want to say this is bad advice, but it's close to it to like recommend stacking on purpose if it's coming at the expense of other goals. It should not be really something you care about at all. So you were right originally in this one.
Yeah, I don't take the team they're on to be in like in terms of this, like, oh, do I already have somebody on this team? I don't think about that in Dynasty.
Me neither.
At all.
In any combination of thinking about it.
Yeah. Meowtastic Gaming Squad. I love these names.
These are the kind of comments we love to see.
Great job, guys. Love the show. Look forward to takes every week. Thank you very much. How do you deal with non-active managers who don't seem interested in trading or even logging in? Isn't high-level trading required to win consistency in a room full of sharks?
Find new leagues. Find new leagues with better managers.
Now, let me just add one thing in, because not everybody is a trader, and you can definitely make bad trades. And sometimes it's okay to be a little bit more conservative. Like, that's a different Dynasty approach. Like, I like to be a little bit more aggressive, sure, but like, I don't think you want to push people out just because they're a little bit more conservative with their approach in that.
The problem is that it's very hard to tell unless you're that person, the difference between an active manager who doesn't trade a lot and a non-active manager. They appear the same from the outside.
Yeah, it's certainly during the off season. It does.
I mean, I have managers that I've played with for long enough that I know them, and I know that they're there, but they're crossed off my trade list because they just don't trade, and they're hurting their own team by doing it, and it's just impossible to trade with them, so I just don't bother.
Yeah, let's see. Kane says, I'm ashamed to say I still don't have any idea who Jacob Harris is.
Google it.
Yeah.
Rams tight end, 4th round pick.
I missed some questions. Hang on.
It's all good. Isn't it crazy that I do this show with like no like notes or anything? Nothing. I have my rankings list and that's it.
Yeah, there's Ed agrees that you got to trade in a room full of sharks. I think you probably do, but like you also so there's trading, but there's
you
also
can outpick them too.
There's free agency, there's drafting, there's like I just think there's other ways. It's not the only way.
No, yeah. I mean, you can outpick them as well. You can, out waiver wire them. It's not just trades.
Yeah, Ed's going after their draft picks. Like, I think if they're not trading though, that's probably they probably want draft picks, is my guess.
Yeah, I don't know what they want or don't want.
Njoku's dynasty value is almost nothing right now.
Yeah, nothing. I would say nothing.
Yeah, prime time. I don't even know what that's in relation to.
Deion Sanders.
I love Deion Sanders. Yes,
Deion Sanders. Mostly before my time.
Center fielder for the Atlanta Braves, Deion Sanders.
You remember him though?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, David, I appreciate the hard work you guys do. Love the knowledge and explanation behind your
Hey,
decisions.
You know what? I always say that I probably make this show look easy, but it is hard. It's hard. It's hard to go up in front of the camera with no preparation. I don't even look at. I put in the questions in the doc, but I don't really look at these questions in advance.
And we've gotten to like 3 of them, so that's how active this trade. Oh, we're less than 45 minutes. Okay. Yeah, he hate me. The team name of the active. We just talked about he hate me. That is a coincidence. Possible. Yeah, this is it's possibly a non-active trader.
Yeah, that's basically what I said. Yeah, there are players I know who are like that. They're just conservative traders. I gotta be quite honest. They are my absolute least favorite league mates of all. They're there and they refuse to trade, and that I get that it's their right to do it, but they just really rub me the wrong way with that. And it's not their fault, but it's just that person's probably not going to have like a good relationship with me in that league. Not personally. I actually have a lot of people like that who are my friends. But like we're probably not going to get on well in terms of as being dynasty managers sharing a league together if that's their attitude. I'm a very active trader, by the way. If that is not
Watson or Jamar Chase.
Just give me Chase, and I don't have to deal with Watson anymore. I love Chase.
Local agrees. Do you like Blake Jarwin?
I don't dislike him, but I wish that there was one of them there. I wish I didn't have to deal with Jarwin and Schultz. If one of them could just go away, I actually think the other one would have a good chance at breaking out. But I also think that the Cowboys are going to return to their 3 wide focus routes a little more and get Gallup more involved. So I'm not particularly high on either tight end.
Great show, guys. Tyler tells it like it is, which is good. But here's the thing, like Tyler does his homework and like really does like he's not just this isn't spitballing because he randomly decided one day to like pay attention to fantasy football. Like Tyler really does his homework and knows his stuff. So
yeah. I really do. I do it all for you guys.
Just ask him. Just ask him. Raising Math for Name Hall of Fame. Yes, that is. I love.
Plus, he was a good.
Plus, Racy is in Nashville, which is the perfect Nashville name. Like Racy McMath.
A good sleeper before they traded for Julio.
Yes. And
he's on the Titans, if anyone doesn't know. I feel like people might not know who Racey McMath is. LSU receiver, I believe, 6th rounder.
He was also one of the cars in the movie Cars from Pixar.
I'm sure he was.
Did I make a mistake drafting Trey Lance over DeAndre Swift in a 14-team Superflex startup?
Let's see. Did you make a mistake? No. No, you did the right thing. You nailed it. 14-team Superflex, give me almost any quarterback over Swift all day.
Yeah, Kyle agrees with you. Give me Lance
all day too.
All day.
I feel like I'm getting that subconscious, like picking up stuff from the comments and including it in my own words as well. I love that, including you guys.
That guy in my 1QB league has one QB league at number 2 has Higgins and Hawkinson. You think that'll prevent him from taking Chase or Pitts?
No, I don't think so.
Shouldn't.
Not if he's competent.
Yeah, it might, but he shouldn't.
It shouldn't. I wouldn't rely on that at all. Just assume he's going to make the best picks possible. Oh, can we put up the last one? The last comment?
Is that this?
Well, yeah. Oh, my God. We know what I think of failure. Some failure. Denzel Mims, a lot of failure. And he's getting beat out by just another guy. Keelan Cole, total jag. Total failure. Denzel Mims is, there are people who are just willing to go down with the ship. They liked Denzel Mims pre-draft. They didn't care that he fell in the draft over a round from where he was supposed to go. Remember, and people don't remember this, so this is a memory for this stuff. Denzel Mims was projected to go to the Packers at the end of the first in the 2020 draft. He fell to the end of the second. Then, he's not good as a rookie. Then all the players are added. But I like Denzel Mims coming into the league, so I'm going to stick to that. You do that. You do that. And, you didn't adjust to the new information. People should adjust to new information. It's important. You don't just stick to the takes that you had. That's why I always say, I'm always willing to change my mind based on evidence. Evidence on the field, evidence of transactions, evidence of draft picks. I didn't happen to like Denzel Mims anyway. But I was okay with him. But now I'm not okay with him because of things that have happened. So you got to be willing to change your mind. NFL is a quick-moving league. If you stay stagnant just based on your old takes, you're not going to do very well in Dynasty.
We have now reached all of our comments for this week on the live chat. So if you have any more, or if I missed it, please go ahead and put it back in the chat.
Didn't we have 40 questions?
We got so many from other sources, so I'm going to try and get through a couple of these while we have a little bit of time here. Who's your favorite 2020 rookie prospect moving forward in Dynasty? I don't think he meant 2021, so 2020.
JT.
It's JT, yeah. What about a wide receiver? Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson.
Quarterback?
From 2020?
Herbert? Burrow?
Herbert.
All right. Year 2, wide receiver breakouts. Running backs that finished outside top. Okay, let's take this. Who's year 2 wide receiver breakouts? Anybody?
Jerry Jeudy.
How about running backs that finished outside top 24 that could be top 15?
I don't know if there is anyone. Second year breakout that finished. I mean, Cam Akers, I think, finished outside of the top 24, but that on the season, but that doesn't count.
Right.
That's not the question.
Right.
I think everyone has Cam Akers as a breakout. That's not the question they're asking. So I just don't think there is that guy who kind of isn't already valued extremely highly. That's a year 2 player. They're all valued extremely highly. So running back, no. Wide receiver, there's a lot of names, though. Jerry Jeudy is a name. How about Brandon Ayuk? Did he finish in the top 24 as a rookie? I don't think he finished there. I think he had a good stretch, but I don't think he finished complete. Brandon Ayuk is a name I would consider for that. How about T. Higgins? Joe Burrow coming back. Yeah, Jamar Chase is there, but if T. Higgins takes a step forward, he could finish as a wide receiver too.
Absolutely.
Chase Claypool. How about Chase Claypool? Another option. I don't think he finished in the top 24 last year. Yeah, he has the athletic upside to do it. So, and Laviska Shenault as well. If Trevor Lawrence is everything that everyone says and that I think he will be, he could take a step forward, especially with how he's doing in training camp.
Chenault's a good one. Claypool finished 25 last year, so
right on the line.
Ayuk was 31.
Okay. I think Higgins is the most likely, though.
Yeah, Higgins, Judy, Chenault was a good one, I think.
Yeah, top 15 is hard for Judy or Chenault.
Late round after 10 draft targets. That's
so many players.
Yeah.
If you just want a couple of the guys I usually end up with in the later rounds, I mean, Nico Collins is one. I wrote about him recently. He's someone I wrote about. So, it's usually the younger players and not the older ones that I tend to end up with. Just some guys from articles I wrote recently. I mean, Nico Collins was one from an article I wrote that I liked. If you want a really deep pull,
Sure.
If he's on your Dynasty waiver wire, go take a shot on Jalen Hurd.
Oh, okay.
Wide receiver from the 49ers.
Brand, yeah.
Yeah, why not? I'm not a big Debo believer. So, they didn't add anyone in the draft at all. So,
love it.
That's a really deep pull. And if you want another one, Frank Darby on the Falcons. I'd rather take a shot on him than Zacchaeus.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Two players you have that you value similarly but have an ADP difference of at least 2 rounds.
So this is the opposite of how this question is usually asked. I value them similarly but have an ADP difference of at least 2 rounds. So let's see. Well, I have Denzel Mims and Dwayne Eskridge right back to back in my Dynasty rankings, and they have an ADP difference of over 5 rounds.
Jeez, them.
So there's one. That's one where I have big differences. Alexander Mattison and Chuba Hubbard. I don't see a difference between those two players. Almost identical. But there's a 3-round difference in ADP. Why?
I think Alexander Mattison is so overrated right now.
We saw a failure. Yeah. Every time he had an opportunity, a lot of failure. I don't want failure.
And this is a 4th-round pick on a running back?
Yeah, why? Why a 4th-round pick on Nwangu?
Right.
Why? Why would they do that? Did tell me he's just going to play special teams? If they're using a 4th-round pick on a special teamer, they're an incompetent franchise.
Right. Exactly.
But what's really the difference between Hubbard and Madison? Really? What is the difference between those two players? Why should Madison be 3 rounds higher? Who do you think is better player? I think Hubbard is better. The only reason I have Madison a little bit higher, 2 spots higher at this point, is because I think the odds of Cook getting hurt are higher than McCaffrey. Even though McCaffrey missed time last year, Cook has never completed a full season, whereas McCaffrey completed his first 3 seasons in their entirety.
Corey Davis is going a couple rounds behind Tyler Boyd. And I know you're not very big on Tyler Boyd. Who would you rather have?
Tyler Boyd.
Okay. All right.
I'm not interested in Corey Davis either.
I was trying to find one that I thought you might be.
Corey Davis again. Corey Davis was hurt for me by the Crowder re-signing. I just think the upside with Davis is gone because Crowder's going to get targets, and now, Davis, I think, is a better player, but I don't think Crowder is a bad player. Crowder is going to earn targets on the team, and those targets can be taken away from anyone. And I don't think that Davis is so great that his targets were locked. We're not talking about a real alpha. So I think that he's going to have some of his targets taken away by another, decent to good player in Crowder. So yeah, the Crowder re-signing really killed a lot of my love for Davis.
Another one that I found, Darnell Mooney or Curtis Martin.
Curtis Martin?
I'm sorry. Listen to me. Curtis Samuel.
I have Curtis Samuel. I actually have them exactly in their ADP spots. So
okay. Interesting.
Nah, not that one. I'd rather have Curtis Samuel. Draft capital, the contract's there.
That's close. That's close. I think I'd rather have Mooney.
I'd rather have Samuel. Contract's there. I like the contract.
I'm afraid of Ron Rivera.
I'm afraid of him, but Darnell Mooney is a 5th-round pick. It's a lot of maybe. We have another Here.
There we go.
Oh, okay. You want to go first? You can steal mine if it's the same one. I'll let you go first.
Numbers asked.
That is okay. I have an objection to a recent comment, but answer this one first.
Okay. Question for both of you: Who was your biggest sleeper player you've hit on in fantasy? Either late round rookie or late round startup vet. Mine is Waller in 2019 in the 26th round. And I like this Curtis Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. This is like he was an old Jets running back.
Yes, I know.
And Tyler's too young to know.
Yeah, I have a big objection. I'm from New York. I know who Curtis Martin is. Come on.
If you have a good answer for this, let me think real quick about this.
Philip Lindsay. He's the one who started it all for me in Dynasty. Like my interest in Dynasty. I picked up Philip Lindsay before the season in 2018. And then I was, you know why I picked him up? You want to know why? Why do you think? Where did I see a discussion about Philip Lindsay?
I'm going to guess beat reports.
Wrong. DLF forum.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we see like now. That. We see now where it started.
I like that.
Yeah, 2018. Back in 2018, the DLF forum pointed me to a little news blurb about Philip Lindsay. And because of that, I put him on my team. And then, I got something there for nothing. And I was so proud of myself. And that got me started in Dynasty, was picking up Philip Lindsay on my waivers before 2018 was my first Dynasty season. So that's the move that started it all, Philip Lindsay.
So I just answered this question for Dynasty League Football and that interview thing, and I don't remember what I said. Certainly, in terms of biggest sleepers, I do remember being really big on CJ Anderson for a while. This is gonna go way back though. Hakeem Nicks was a guy that I was like completely sold was going to be a stud wide receiver.
Oh my God. Well, I'm a Giants fan, so
yeah. And like at the time, like Hakeem Nicks was not seen as this guy that was going to be like as big as I thought he was. Like I loved everything about Hakeem Nicks. That's going back a ways. Like I don't know if anybody watching this is even going to care about Hakeem Nicks, but
my God, wait.
Hakeem Nicks.
In 2010, with one of my last picks, I drafted Arian Foster. People were like, who's this guy? I've never heard of this guy. Week 1, 41 points. 41 points. And I was like, I might have something here, this fantasy football thing. Obviously, it was redraft, but, that was a big one for me, Arian Foster.
Yeah, he's a big one. I remember Emmanuel Sanders was one that I was like pretty big on before Peyton Manning really helped him blow up. Like he had a couple of great years. Oh, Julian Thomas too that year.
Julius Thomas? Tight end.
That was one that, again, it was the beat reports kept saying like how much Peyton Manning loved him like over and over and over again. God. And I remember thinking like, okay, yeah, I can see this. And I started him in week 1 when like he was like nobody wanted anything to do with that. And yeah, he was really good that year. He had a bunch of touchdowns.
Yeah. I remember when I picked up Alvin Kamara on waivers in redraft.
Kamara was another one because like people didn't.
That was a good one.
People forget that like they signed Adrian Peterson that year.
I know, too. Yeah, no, I remember that. And they had Ingram, so he was kind of buried.
Yeah. Gosh, I'm trying to think through. That's I just answered this and I still can't remember the question, the answer that I gave to DLF. It's late and we're going on 3.5 hours here. So, but we're still giving our best to you. We got less than 30 minutes left. If you have any questions, like numbers here, go ahead and get those in. We have
so many from the question bin.
Wait, what?
From the question bin, we still have so many remaining.
We have so many. Yeah, running that way in OTAs isn't a guarantee. Wait for training camp before locking anything.
No, I'm good. I'm good on
Depth
Denzel
chart.
failure. I'm good on Denzel failure. I don't want any more failure. A lot of failure. I think they've told us throughout the entire offseason, their draft strategy, all their signings. I think they've told us what they think of him.
I think that's true. I think we can sometimes read too much in, like especially when it's slow news. But again, that's why you've got to read past the headline.
Follow the money. Follow the money. Follow the draft picks. That's when they can't lie. That's when they have to be honest.
And yes, for numbers here, Darren Waller was
one of the better ones.
Yeah, no doubt.
James Robinson last year.
Oh, you know what? Gosh, this is going. Nobody's gonna care. I'm older than I'm way older than Tyler. But
that's not true. Don't you turn like 27 this year, right?
Yeah, right. Okay, sure. Yeah, great. Yeah. Ruben Drones in Denver, way back.
My God. I remember Ruben Drones on Giants.
Gosh, this was like back in Denver.
That was when he was
Denver
old.
Years. Let's see. Okay, we answered this one from Zach. Okay, so this is a question that I included in here. One, because he put it in here and I wanted to answer it, but also because I want to talk a little bit about how you feel about like team defenses in dynasty leagues. Are you pro or against that?
Against them. I don't get it. Why would you have team defenses in dynasty leagues? Sounds like a big waste of time.
Yes. What about kickers in dynasty leagues?
No kickers. No, I don't want kickers.
This is interesting though. I guess if you do have one and you want to add a scoring option for 3 and outs, I think that is interesting. I've never seen that.
Sounds like a redraft thing you might want to try. Sounds like a redraft thing for me. I like defense in redraft.
At Russ Fisher, Dynasty
Outhouse. I talk about Juju on every show, so we've talked about Juju on this one.
How do you, not just why do you hate Juju, but how?
Well, he asked me that because I was telling him he didn't have any players I wanted. He had no players I wanted, no young players. I wanted young players. And he was like, when we talked about Juju, I was like, I don't like Juju because Juju is a lot of failure. That's why I hate Juju. 2 years of failure. In 2019, a lot of failure. We say there was no quarterback, but that didn't stop Deontay Johnson from producing as a rookie. James Washington put up similar numbers to Juju that year. And last year, what are the excuses? What are the excuses, really? A lot of excuses. His production was boring. He didn't really produce a lot. And, he didn't play. He produced a lot in the games where, Johnson and Claypool either weren't playing or Johnson's dropped, sent him to the bench. There were also games where Johnson missed time with injuries, and there was a lot of that. And Juju just didn't deliver at all. I was not excited. And now we hear what the beat reporters say. We hear what they say. They say that Juju is the clear 3 on this team. They didn't want to re-sign him. They didn't want him. They were like, you heard Juju's Instagram at the start of free agency. Someone asked him, are you going to be back with the Steelers? He was like, I think that's negative. And then why is he back with the Steelers? Because no one else wanted him. So at a price of 1 year, $8 million, they were like, all right, we can take you back. They didn't want him. If Juju was like, give me a 4-year, $50 million contract, they would have been like, you're not getting a 4-year, $50 million contract. That's not happening. That's not happening here. So they didn't want him. They didn't want him back. They just took him back as kind of a whatever, run it back for 1 more year. But that's why I hate him, because the hype, there are people who still think it's the 2019 offseason Juju, where he was contending for Dynasty wide receiver 1. There are people who don't recognize that there have been 2 years of events since then. And all of those events, where was his interest in free agency? Where was the interest in free agency? Nobody wanted to offer him more than a 1-year deal. Kenny Golladay seemed to have plenty of interest in free agency. There were lots of teams interested. Nobody wanted to sign Juju. I didn't see anyone backing up a Brinks truck for him. All right, this is what I'm saying. Juju is not a 1 in the league. He's like a 2 on a team. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, if he were your second best receiving option, I don't know. I think where he could go and succeed, and that's why I don't think Juju's a dead asset, is let's say he signed with the Chiefs. I think he could excel as a third receiving option with a really good quarterback. I think he could do well there if he's really getting like, not great coverage. Like on the Chiefs, they're all worried about Tyreek and Travis Kelce, and Juju's their like third weapon. I think he could succeed and get some dynasty value back. But on this team with Ben, I don't want Ben's third receiver. I'll stick to the other two because I'm not even that high on them this year because of Ben.
Yeah, we need a drinking game every time you say, but you gotta watch it though, Wessel. Like that's gonna be
you'll be dead. I mean, you'll be dead if you took a shot every time I said failure. This would be your last. This would be like your last day on earth. This would be your last day on earth. I mean, how could you survive that? Every time I said failure?
Yeah.
How many times have we talked about failure on this show? Probably like 50? I would suggest maybe every 5 or 10 failures, take a shot.
Woo! Joe coming in hot. Juju, Pittman, Amon-Ra have the same upside.
Amon-Ra, no, because he plays for the Lions. But Juju and Pittman have similar upside to me.
Okay, if we're gonna try and get a top 10 best names, the Peerless Price make it.
Oh, I love it.
It's pretty good.
Whoa, this is a big, bold suggestion. I'm not old enough to run for president, though.
Yeah, I am.
No, you're 27, right? That's what you are.
Yeah, 2024. Yes. I don't know if 2024 Tyler needs some eligibility. I'll
be eligible to run for president in
2032, maybe
2032. Yeah.
There we go. Ashton Yabuti.
Oh my God.
That one's a pretty good NFL name.
I love it.
Bronco Nagurski.
That's a good one too.
Nick Toon. Conrad Dobler.
Give me another one. Not names. Give me something. Give me another one.
Those are great names.
All right, here. Wait a minute.
Here we go.
This will help us.
Numbers. I have a lot of shares of Zach Wilson because of super flex value in later rounds for rookie drafts.
And I think that's good.
Yes, it is. Should I be worried for most of my teams? Can he be a QB2 this year?
Yeah, QB2. Not good. Yeah, not as good. No, I don't want him as my QB2 this year at all. That would be very concerning to me. I'm good.
I kind of feel like Zach Wilson is maybe the most likely to be. Not nobody's going to be Justin Herbert. We can't do that. But of all the people that we could look at and say they could have that kind of value, I think it could be him.
Doesn't have a 1. He doesn't have a 1. That's the thing he doesn't have. He doesn't have a number 1 receiver. He doesn't have any Keenan Allen. Doesn't have anyone like that. I think that's going to prevent him from doing that. He has a lot of meh, a lot of maybe. I don't like meh and maybe. I like Zach Wilson a lot long term. I'd like to see him play well, not really produce for fantasy, but still play well on the field, even if it's not fantasy numbers. And then we can see going into next season if they can get a 1 on this team. Elijah Moore, I don't know if Elijah Moore is a real 1.
Maybe not.
I don't think so. He's
Corey
not
Davis is probably their 1, like we talked about earlier.
Corey Davis is not a 1.
Here's what I like about Zach Wilson. Okay, I'm gonna give you my here's why I like Zach Wilson. There's like 3 reasons. 1, the comments from LaFleur post draft talking about why there was never any wavering for them. It was all about like they think he's going to do well right away because the offense is so similar to what he ran at BYU. So that's why I have a little bit of faith that like, hey, maybe from an offensive system standpoint, 2021, he could very easily outproduce what I think people think. 2, his uncle owns JetBlue. And still, when the pandemic started, you know what he was doing?
What?
He was working for, it wasn't Waiter. What's the other one? What's the other big
Uber
name?
Eats?
Ooh, yeah, one of those. He was working
DoorDash?
for one of the DoorDash. It was DoorDash. He was a DoorDash driver. You think his uncle wasn't offering him money?
I don't care about that, man.
He's a hard worker.
Look,
he's going to go into camp. He's going to work hard.
Zach Wilson. I like Zach Wilson, but if you look at the rookie quarterbacks that have succeeded in the past, they usually have some really good weapons. He just doesn't have that. He also doesn't have a great running back.
Sorry.
He doesn't have a great running back. I'd like him to have like a Christian McCaffrey or a Saquon Barkley to take the pressure off. Michael Carter just doesn't do that for me.
Yeah. Tevin Coleman.
Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman.
He's got a lot of
no, the ultimate failure. Yeah. Tevin Coleman, I think, holds my crown for the ultimate failure. Everyone on the 49ers manages to succeed, but when he comes in the game, it's a failure. Total failure. He can't even succeed in Kyle Shanahan's offense. He's going to succeed on the Jets, with a rookie quarterback? I don't think so. I think it's going to be a lot of failure. So I don't want any Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman's disaster. If you want a good waiver wire pickup, go pick up Ty Johnson. I think more interesting than Tevin Coleman. I don't want any part of Tevin Coleman.
Numbers are the best. Thank you so much.
We appreciate it.
Yes. I just found out in a Google search that there was once a Detroit Lions quarterback named Chuck Long. That's the best quarterback name in the history of the world.
Long.
You cannot tell me that there's a better name.
Chuck it Long.
The best one ever.
I love it.
Khalil Herbert or Kalen Hill?
It's Kalen Hill. So Khalil Herbert. I'll take Khalil Herbert there. Kalen Hill's so buried, man.
He is buried. Herbert's pretty buried too.
Less buried.
Who
are you more confident in for like the next 2 years? Aaron Jones or David Montgomery?
More confident in
next 2 years. The guaranteed years in Aaron Jones's contract.
Okay, tell me. So David Montgomery is a guy that I have mixed feelings about because David Montgomery you would have called him an absolute failure up until he ran up against a schedule that had him face the 6 of the 7 worst run defenses in the
NFL.
NFL.
Tariq Cohen was out and he got passing work he wouldn't have gotten otherwise, and he's not that good at.
Right.
As well.
Now they did also add Damian Williams. I don't know how much we care about that.
Yeah, Damian, no.
Wes will pass that off your
time. No, I mean, he's actually the ultimate failure. He's actually the biggest failure. I call him the king of failure. King of failure is what I would call Tevin Coleman. He's the most failure of anyone.
Absolutely.
That's probably not true, but he's up there on my list of failures. Right next to Jerick McKinnon.
There was a wide receiver named Max Speedle.
Oh my God.
That's pretty good.
But we never really got to Herbert and Hill. So the only thing is just for me, AJ Dillon is also entrenched as the backup. They spent a second rounder on him. So Kylan Hill is just so buried. I mean, he doesn't in the next 2 years, he doesn't even have, without an injury, he doesn't even have a path to being more than number 3. Whereas again, it's the same thing I've talked about before. There's a universe in which if David Montgomery is bad, there's a universe in which he gets sent to the bench. It's unlikely, but possible. Aaron Jones is not getting sent to the bench this year.
Is Cam Akers a sell high?
No, not for me.
Me neither.
Well, I'd try it because I always try. I sold him once. I got T. Higgins and 2 firsts in Superflex. I'll take that. No player is really worth that other than the top of the top. The quarterbacks only are worth that much. But in general, I would say no. I actually have him higher than consensus. So I would say no on Cam Akers being a sell high.
Dustin Ross says, pick your favorite rookie quarterback, young wide receiver stack for fantasy.
Wow, I mean,
Lawrence Laviska, Trey Lance Ayuk, Justin Fields Mooney, or Wilson and Elijah Moore.
I mean, the value-wise in a Superflex, it's Lawrence and Visca easily.
God, that could be fun, huh?
Yeah. In terms of favorite to watch, I mean, I'm going to be happy to see Mooney not get passes from Dalton. So whenever that happens, that'll be nice. Wilson and Moore have a nice connection. But yeah, it's Lawrence and Visca.
Yeah, I do yeah, that is a lot of fun. Now, I like the idea of Lance and Ayuk.
I'm not really excited for Lance and Ayuk, like, specifically.
I think it could be fun, mostly because Ayuk is so good. Like, after the catch, like, I love watching him in the open field.
It has nothing to do with that, though. It's like, for Lance, it's Lance I'm excited for. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not that excited for Lance's weapons. I'm excited to see what Lance does with his legs.
Yeah.
Whereas Lawrence is the ultimate floor and ceiling raiser for all of his weapons. So yes. I'm more excited to see what Lawrence does with his weapons, whereas I'm more excited to see Lance for Lance's sake.
Yes.
I'm not really, I have them valued the way I have them valued, but I'm not particularly excited for that combo. It's probably the one I'm the least intrigued by in terms of just my personal interest. I'd be the most interested in Lawrence and Laviska just because those are two of my favorite players.
I am intrigued by the fact that there was an offensive tackle by the name of Guy Wemper. That is
him I've heard of.
That is an interesting name.
Him I've heard of. I think he was a Giant at some point.
He might have been. And then there was a guy named Pork Chop Womack.
We should do the birthday game because we're not really getting questions. We're not getting that many questions in the chat. Oh, we have another couple of these. Oh, now take that back. We have. Think of a birthday one while I answer this. I have Waller with Hawk on one team and Pitts on another. Do I ride out with both tandems and try to trade one of them? 1.5 point tight end premium. Thanks again for the super chat again. We appreciate that.
Yes.
It shows the people at DLF that our show is doing well and that people are liking us. With that said, in a 1.5 point tight end premium, all of these guys are flex viable. So I would ride the tandems because then if one gets hurt, you still have a tight end and you can start them both. So yeah, I would ride them personally.
I agree with this, Pete Tuthar. We need a standing ovation. Buy it for numbers.
I think we do. Yeah,
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. Look, and guys, there are other ways too that you can support. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, by the way. Like, do that.
Share the Twitter posts when we post it. Retweet them, like them, comment on them. You know, when I ask for questions, submit them. Wherever it is, if it's Reddit, if it's Discord, if it's a DLF forum, if it's Twitter, I'll sweep them all in. So just get your questions in. You can ask a question at any time. Just use the AskDLF hashtag and probably tag me, and that'll help us get it in.
And I do search the AskDLF hashtag when I am
tagging one or both of us will definitely expedite the process. That'll make it easier, especially me, because I'm probably not just randomly searching the hashtag. I like to, if you tag me, I will 100% see it though.
Yeah, I'm so Numbers definitely seems like he knows a lot about tight ends. He had a ton of stuff.
We had a lot of tight end questions, but that's okay. Yeah. I like all the positions equally to discuss. So whatever your questions are about, we'll talk about them all.
Are we sure Zach Wilson isn't just a Mormon Manziel?
I don't know. I don't see him that way.
Yes, we're sure.
I don't see him as a Johnny Manziel. Honestly.
Maybe a Jay Cutler, more like.
I don't think he's a Jay Cutler either. Jay Cutler was a different kind of human being.
Yeah. Zach Wilson's kind of different too.
Yeah, but I mean different from Zach Wilson. Jay Cutler, I think there's only ever been one Jay Cutler. Yeah, to be honest.
Real quick, Mike Williams.
I put this one in, from the FFB Tech, and I would say on the balance, it's probably a hopeful never, but I'd rather hold in case I'm wrong. He's not someone I'd try to get rid of. The upside is too great, and the sell price is too low.
Love it. What is the scenario if Monter St. Brown fails in this offense?
If the offense is so bad that everyone fails.
Yeah, I guess it's true. Like, there certainly are offenses sometimes that just they're so bad you don't want anybody in there.
I mean, there's 32 teams, so you're gonna have teams without a wide receiver too, and you're probably gonna have a couple teams with no one in the top 50. because you're going to have multiple teams with some teams with multiples. So I think the Lions are a good candidate to have no top 50 wide receiver. I would bet on it. That's how I have it ranked. I don't have a Lions wide receiver in the top 60, let alone the top 50.
Colvin, Saturday show when the season
We've
starts.
talked about this in a lot of respects. This show will remain at this time forever. We particularly picked this time because we thought during the season this would be a good time. Because you have the show on Tuesdays before your waiver claims go in. Most of the time, at the earliest, they go in Wednesday at 2 a.m. So you'll have a chance to do your waiver claims with us before that. Yes. So that's most of why we chose this time. So this show will remain at this time for the season. As for additional content, there's been some discussion about that. I don't know if I'm sure Cal will be on it. I'm probably gonna be writing 4 or 5 articles a week in addition to this show and my other podcasts. So, I definitely will not have another regular show, especially if this is gonna be 4 hours, which I love, but I probably won't be on there for another regular show. What I will do, and I did this last year, is I do start sit, just a thread on Twitter every morning, Sunday morning, just start sit. I'll do that. I'll be there. I'll get to everyone. And I'll probably have the DL football account retweet it. Maybe Cal retweet it. Maybe Cal can jump in on that, or other Dynasty League football analysts could jump in on my thread. But if not, that's okay. I'll do it for you guys myself.
But I love the idea, and we like Tyler says, we have tossed around the idea. Even
we talked about an injury show.
Yeah, even including some injury analysis as we're heading into.
Yeah, we talked about an injury show
to Sunday. So yes, there is certainly a possibility of us doing something like this. There's also this is something that, Tyler mentioned. He had some stuff. He hadn't even talked to me yet. I haven't talked to him about this part yet, but there is actually a members type thing that can happen with YouTube that could be like a kind of a members only type show.
That's something that's possible. And it's also possible that we could do it's possible that if there's enough interest, we could do some sort of start sit thing on the DLF forums as well. But we'd need to ramp up the activity in the DLF premium forums, because right now it's quiet to do something like that. It's included, guys. If you have a subscription, it's included. You should take advantage of it. It's very valuable. It's up at the top of the page if you have a premium subscription on the forums. And we have another super chat. Let's get to that.
Numbers, last question. Standing ovation for numbers. We need a drop for that. Somebody who knows how to do that.
We'll make that. What do I do with Pittman? Good question. Yeah. It's such a tough one because I think he's the clear wide receiver 1 on that team, but we have Carson Failure. We have Carson Failure versus clear wide receiver 1. I would take my chances on a wide receiver 1 on any team. I don't think the offense is going to be abysmal, even though I think it could be bad. I don't think we're at the Lions territory here or like Texans. So I'm okay with Pittman. I have him this year in redraft ranked at wide receiver 38, just behind Juju at 37. And that's kind of the end of a tier for me in redraft. I'd hold him because he didn't do enough as a rookie, I don't think, to get a sell price. And I don't think a lot of people were that excited about Carson Wentz. So I'd hold.
Enough Lions slander says.
I'm sorry, but you guys hired Dan Campbell. You hired Anthony Lynn as your offensive coordinator. Didn't replace Jared Goff. I mean, come on. Like, what do you want me to say? I can't lie.
Have you come around on Bateman yet?
Yes and no. For this year, not really. And long term, not really. Maybe a little bit, but not really.
Yes. In best ball, I have. I like him in best ball.
Like, I'm just not that high on him. But I guess I'm not that low. I actually have him ranked above ADP. So, again, he came in when I was saying all of that stuff. I expected his ADP to be like in the mid 50s. It was 76 in 1 QB. So his ADP came in I didn't see the ADP when I said all of that. So he actually came in a lot lower than I thought. He was 76 2 straight months. His ADP didn't change. So at his current price, I'm fine with him. But I hear people saying things like he should go above Devonta Smith or Jalen Waddle, and I'm not with that. I have those two guys way ahead.
We have like a minute left. Isaiah asked, one QB league, I have an offer giving up Devontae, I guess it's Adams, and Debo to get Travis Etienne, Julio, and Odell. What do you think?
Give me oh God. I guess I'll take the Etienne side, but I don't like it.
No, because you got Etienne and then like dying assets, and then you've got
but I have
Adams.
But I have Devontae Adams, who I don't want at all, and at his price or anywhere near it, and Debo, who I don't like. I'd probably rather have Odell than Debo.
Thank you to everyone who stuck with us. There are still so many people in here. Thank you to the chat. Thank you for being.
I know. We appreciate the chat is crazy.
The best chat. Like, you guys are amazing. We really appreciate that. Make sure you're following Tyler. Make sure you're following me. Make sure you're following DLF at DL Football. And yeah, thank you so much. We'll see you back here next week. And we will, hopefully talk to you guys very soon. Hit us up and let's talk.